There, so here we are.
Hard to Kill, episode 113. We got Mike Giuliano in the hood tonight. Now, Mike and myself, we started this early. Mike was a day one fan. I think he added me and I reached out to him. And we just clicked right away. We deployed at the same time. We did similar things. And Mike, real quick, just talk about how, what does podcasting mean to you? Because I know you started your own thing since then.
I started my own thing, but I hadn't continued with it. I kind of,
you still started it.
Right.
So, what did that? What did that do for you? We talked a little bit about it. You worked with me a little bit, and then you started your own thing. Did that? Do you feel like you need to talk to somebody, like psychiatrist wise, or because to me, this is what that is to me. Like I use it, just talking to people that I know did similar things helps me. I don't know what it is, but I enjoy it.
Yes. So long story short, yes. When you and I chatted, and then my mom, she was the one who would listen to it. And she's like, you've got the ability to connect, right? And obviously that's why you do it, because you've got that personality that's able to do the same thing. I love my mom, but it was an outlet for me to be able to talk to people that I think would understand what was going on. The experiences you go through, not saying oh yeah, the ability to tell your story, right, and have a format to, hey, this is the way that I saw it, this is the way that I felt it, this is the way that I went through it. Other people that may think oh, maybe they can relate, right? So you have an ability to connect with others. That's the whole point of doing the. You don't put it on social media or talk about it with somebody that you know is going to put it on social media unless you have the ability to, explain it properly, or think that what you're saying is. It's nerve-wracking.
Sure.
Even sitting here
easy.
right now, I'm fucking nervous right now, doing this in a. I've done.
Well, this is our first in person.
Yeah, this is wild. This is fucking wild.
Break that down to them real quick so they understand.
So whenever it was that you and I had connected on the podcast, we you
Mike's from Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois. There's no S at the end of it. But no, outside.
How do you say Worcester? I heard it earlier. Worcester.
That is Worcester, Worcestershire sauce.
Worcester.
Yeah, Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
But no, I'm from outside the Chicagoland area, Chicagoland suburbs. But no, whatever way it was that we got connected, you'd reached out and you're you want to do the thing. After that, I felt I've got the ability.
Dude, I was impressed with you immediately. It's not you downplay the shit, dude, but it's not. Listen, talking about this stuff in the era that we come in is. There's something that comes with it. It's not something that's looked well upon, if you will, or in a positive outlook. Because the era we grow up in, it's you keep your shit to yourself, you handle your own shit, and you don't broadcast it. We're not here trying to fucking get attention on our shit. You should just do it. You shouldn't do it for attention.
In a certain aspect, but there's people that have their. We'll get into all that shit.
But we do come from that, dude. Talking about this stuff isn't really looked.
Well, no, I say before I went on my first deployment, my platoon sergeant, who ended up becoming our platoon commander as a gunnery sergeant, he was with 2nd Battalion 4th Marines in Ramadi in 2004, and before when we were getting wrapped up with Mojave Viper, he had called us all in and sat us down, and he talked to us. And this is something that people overlook. They don't remember certain. I don't know how I remember shit like this, and I'm
they meant a lot.
Him being able to say when we were in Iraq and these are the things that we experienced, right? He had his experiences and his struggles and all the things that if you know the history of the Marine Corps, what 2-4 had done. And what they went through in Ramadi, right? I, as a boot, I was pretty versed in Marine Corps knowledge, Marine Corps history. I like that stuff. Long story short, the point I'm getting to, experienced guy already. We're getting ready to go on our first deployment in 2010, and he tells us what it was like. I remember this. We're in one of those little fucking huts in Wilson, huts. And we're school circled around him, and this is a guy when you look
Hard.
at him, oh, for sure,
Nails.
absolutely.
It's not common that he would talk, so when he did,
He didn't like his picture being taken.
Yeah,
He didn't
all
like,
that
but
shit.
at the same time, as like a gunnery sergeant, you know, like he would still like smoke a cigarette. Like you have that ability to like be ambivalent towards where that threshold is, like friend and
That means a lot
leadership,
to
you
us
know?
when they do something
Oh,
like that.
for sure. You know, like hey, let me get a cigarette or let me get a dip. Like knowing that they have a pack of cigarettes, and you have that like interaction where
They really get on your level,
yeah,
and they humanize themselves a little bit.
there's so much that's like to unpack even with that.
And they
because-
look at that because they trust you with not being able to keep it here.
Well, or it's like I mean, fuck. We're gonna get on a tangent. So
You're right, though.
sat
It's
us
a big
down,
deal. It's a big
school
deal.
circle, told us about the experience that he had with like when like Marines were killed in combat, right? And
dropping
none of us
details?
know. Oh, absolutely. None of us like have any like you see the recruiting commercials and you go through boot camp and you're kill. You
guys are fresh.
You know, like you do the get off, and you remember like going through that little lane in fucking the Crucible or whatever, and you hear the Saving Private Ryan shit in the background. Like you don't understand until you actually go and do it, right? And you experience certain things like that. And
What did you think in the moment when he was like expressing himself? to
I
you
mean,
guys?
seeing he started to tear up, you know, like he started to get emotional about it. And I remember feeling like seeing this guy that was like hard as fucking nails, fucking red stripe, fucking black belt, like punch you in the chest when you do something wrong, and like get up in your shit, but also like be the hammer, be the mentor, you know.
It's a unique quality to be able to do that.
And then seeing that like side that you would expect to see, and being like, holy shit, like, you know, the guy does have, like, this is the guy that in Mojave Viper, you know, like would sleep, like would, I'm not trying to air anybody's
No,
business
fucking
out
talk
there.
about it.
But
Details matter.
it's not my place to say other people's struggles and the things that like
true.
the
That's
way
true.
that they, you know, like whatever.
I hear you. Keep going.
But the point is, you know, like you're I didn't even know what the original point was. Maybe one too many Yinglings, but
No, I mean, we're talking about how we had a real
Where-
conversation before.
where we had that real conversation, I think there's this disconnect with people thinking that there was no, like, in the Marine Corps, there's no emotion, there's no feeling, there's no like connection and things like that. You just gotta like stuff it down.
Yeah.
There's plenty of emotion. There's plenty
yeah.
of stories. There's plenty of times people have like, you know, gone outside the box
Yeah.
of what people think and expect and what.
It's just done differently.
I don't
it's just
know.
done
Dude.
differently.
Everybody has a different experience. Everybody has a different type of leadership.
But just how you remembered that moment
Yeah.
and how rare it was, like that's what I'm talking about. They take little moments like that to express the feelings so you can appreciate what you're going to get into.
I don't know if appreciate is the right word, because
I mean, wasn't that what he was trying to accomplish? You
I
guys are,
don't,
you guys
I don't,
are fresh.
no, I don't think appreciation is what you're trying to accomplish. It's like, dude, when we had this IED strike, and then like I was at the crater, and then I found the wire that was like leading to the actual pressure plate, and I'm fucking like the shriek in his voice, and this is me being a dumb boot. Like
of
this is
course.
after the IED strike. I'm like fucking
Copper wire.
pulling at the fucking. And he's like, the way he said Giuliano fucking it was like this like shriek in his voice, because me thinking like, oh, let me see where this fucking wire goes, not thinking like this is after the strike and everything, like I'm gonna find the fucking pressure plate, like not thinking that obviously like if there was one, there's two, there's four, and
Daisy
you know
chain,
the whole
yeah.
fucking all the ditties that you're taught, but like I remember the shriek in his voice of like, because I didn't understand loss, you know, like I didn't understand.
That's heavy. That's
I didn't
heavy.
understand loss. Like, yeah, Marines have been like blown up, and like guys had gotten Kazovac and shit. Like nobody had died yet, right? And
It means something
and
different
that
to
like
him.
the shriek in the voice. I specifically remember the way, because like imagine being the guy like, oh, let me just pull this wire, and it's you know, like you're fucking dead. And not that it would matter to fucking you, but then that is the burden that is
course.
passed on to everybody
Burden of
else, and it's
command.
all those whatever. But yeah, there's the emotional side of things. I think that guys look past the fact that they did experience it, but they don't remember it for what it was. Or like before you went on that mission, like there's, excuse me, that I think it was 3-6, and there's the, excuse me, I don't know if it was a company commander or the guy that like gives that like fucking, or 1-6 or 3-6, I forget what unit.
1-6.
And then he was like, you know, you will breathe fire. And,
Yeah, that was a hard one, dude.
right, and that's hardcore, but ultimately at the end of the day, that was like the precursor to that kickoff of whatever mission you're going on. Like I remember the one, like when they're sitting there and we're going over this and they're like, all right, we're gonna pull up, like move up, establish the support by fire position and all these things. Like it was like, and some of you may fucking like looking to your left and your right, like somebody may fucking die, somebody may get fucking blown up, somebody may get shot, and like when that like reality hits in, and you're like looking at your like, holy fucking, it's like this. Now it's real. Now it's different. You know, like
When do
now
you think that settled in for you? Like really? Was it then?
we
Like,
had
right-
no. Well, it was different when we had like gone out to like see this like Afghan vehicle hit an IED, right? And we like go out to see the fucking aftermath, and like you see like fucking split fucking shit, and there's like me like as a like
Young-
first thing I'm doing when I'm in country. I
And
had
how old are you at
videos
this
of
time?
this shit.
How old are you this time?
I think
What,
I just
19,
turned
20?
19. I think I just turned 19. Like in one of the first videos were like outside the wire. I got my little pee out and I'm like peeing on the ground. It's like, look, mom, I'm peeing on Afghanistan. You know, like I'm. That's the kind of guy I am and was, and like the jokester, like want to crack jokes.
You need one. You need one.
Before you understand, like,
The gravity of the situation, really.
dude, I remember the first time I was gonna like, you do your 5s and 25s, and you look around, and we're like stepping out of the vehicle. I'm thinking like that piece of fucking trash. You're like that way. It makes you feel like holy shit. Like I think maybe then there was a little bit of understanding, but when I saw like when we were on like the 611 up like north of
yeah.
like Garesh and like south of Sangin, and like go up that way, there's like they were doing the road, and like the Afghans would fucking like strike IEDs while they're like fucking doing the road, and then they gotta like come get cleaned up and shit. And you're like that like could have been a fucking Marine that
That's
gets
when it was for
fucking
me,
blown up.
when I saw that.
Like,
Yeah.
you're like that could have been a fucking Marine, and like seeing the severity of what it is, like regardless if you're wearing your fucking blast panties. I don't know if anybody out there ever had to wear those things. Like make sure like you're doing fucking PCCs, and they're like you got your blast panties on, then you got your diaper.
Yeah.
That was more so like a little after. The first deployment was.
Well, hold on, we got a little ahead of this. So,
sorry.
we originally started talking about we both have podcasts, and what it means to us to have them, because honestly, there's not a lot of people really doing it that like, went over to there from the enlisted side, did the damn thing, came back, dealt with some shit, and here we are.
Dude, I think there's like fucking.
I mean, it seems like a lot for us, but in the grand scheme of things, it's
I mean, I don't know. I think they're like when you look at there's like fucking thousands, if not fucking tens of thousands of different types of veteran podcasts, and like
I love
I'm
it.
I'm not like a pioneer in the sense by any means. I mean,
Dude,
the reason I did it was because you would
Still,
fucking.
but you are, dude. You have a unique flavor to you. I love how you do interviews, bro. You're very technically sound. You're very confident in what you talk about.
Think about storytelling, right? Like there's the whole like when I went to fucking college and like I'm trying to do the digital media aspect. You got to learn the way that stories are told. It's like every movie. What's the arc of the character and how does that shit play out? And like all the details. That really what it comes down to is like where does it start and where is it now? Like what is the finish going to be? Like are you going to write your own story, or is it already predetermined by the fact that like you're going to be a statistic? Like there's a I don't know.
I hear you.
You've got to be able to like understand the way to effectively communicate with people to
me, that's a rare quality.
Well, to relate to them, one, and then two, to allow them the opportunity to open up about some very intimate and personal things. And that's like how
to me, that's comfortability. That to me is my mission right off the cuff. I need to get you comfortable with me so you relax and you do show me that side of you.
Yeah.
What's your goal when you're interviewing someone? Is it comfortability, or are you just trying to like
I don't
talk
understand.
shop?
I don't know how comfortable they are. Like normally I never gamed the game. Right? Like I never was like, all right, tell me these points that you want to talk about and figure out. I would say no politics, no bashing, don't call people out. Like that's not what it's about. It's about like where did it start, and then what was the progression like? Where was the point of no return, or what? Like where did you decide to get out or stay in, or whatever length of history behind military service that these people have. But the ultimate goal was to bridge the gap between the misunderstandings between, whether it be different MOSs or different branches of service, and then that giving a wider spectrum of view behind just, let's hear about the guy with fucking quad tube nods with the suppressor on his rifle,
sexy.
like breaching a
sexy.
door. Like, let
let me slow you down. You just said misunderstandings.
Hold on. But on that note, I'm not trying to bash anybody that wore quad tube knobs and had suppressors. It's just like there's this there's how many times do you want to hear about the same story,
Absolutely.
which took place in different environments with a different guy? And again, this is not bashing at all, but we hear the stories of the tier 1 operators over and over and over again in different aspects of the war. And I love it. I'm about it. I support it. I'm behind it, right? But what about the motor T mechanic? What about the aircraft technician? What about the avionics electrician? What about the guy that was the armor?
All
what
the
about
pieces.
what about the cook that got fucking pulled because they were combat ineffective and had to go on a combat patrol? What about the women that fucking were enablers for naval special warfare? What about all these people that served in different aspects of the United States military as a spectrum and are, I don't want to say forgotten, but like overlooked because the focus is, let me breach the door and kill the bad guy.
That's
like,
listen, that's so rare for someone like you to even have that outlook. Let's talk about it.
Why do you say that?
You're a fucking grunt, dude. You're a grunt.
Okay. What does that mean?
As a grunt, you have usually, let's be real, dude. You know the mindset of a grunt. They don't think like that. To everyone else, those are pogues. They don't fucking matter.
Yeah, but I've seen fucking pogues do things that, like, I mean, like, you have your combat engineers, you have your fucking motor T dudes that are running log packs. You have, most EOD guys that I ever fucking met were prior fucking infantry guys that transitioned to EOD. But like, there's multiple MOSs out there that are fucking engaged in combat arms on a regular fucking basis. There's guys that were like, hey, you got to go down Route Green in fucking Baghdad or whatever, if that's even the right road I'm talking. I was never there, but like in like the 2004, you know, and then you're a cook that's got to go from like, I got to the airport, now I got to get to my patrol base, and your first time riding down the road in your fucking, you know, half armored Humvee, your fucking RPGs and rounds fucking pinging off the vehicle and shit. Like, there's so many different perspectives of the fucking 20 years that we're spent fighting this war on multiple fucking, I don't want to say fronts, but like multiple different countries.
Of course.
And we're so fixated on who wears Crye Precision the best and has like the H&K fucking whatever. You know, it's like, I mean,
this is legit. I mean, you're speaking about real shit right now, dude. And what's the goal to that though? Are you trying to unite the veterans to a certain degree? Or are you just trying to smash out a couple of discrepancies that, you know, maybe are overlooked?
Brother, with the divide, and I don't want to get political by any means, but with the divide with everything, like, we're so fixated on the differences between all the different fucking walks of life when it comes to being a human being that we don't focus on the things that we have in common. And that's...
So let's be real right now. Like, the time that we live in, it's chaotic right now. And it seems like there's just this unquenchable thirst to just argue about every little thing, and all we hear is opinions from everybody. That's all. And there's got to be some way to just do it differently. And it seems like we're just being like pushed. Everyone's pushed into a certain direction to argue. And we need to be able to, when we say unite.
Well, that's if you fall for it, though. I mean,
listen. Like, is that not the majority right now? Like, how often do you hear?
What is the majority? Is the majority what's told to you by fucking some media agency or what you
Seems
see on
that way.
social media?
Seems that way to me.
I mean, yeah, but then it's like, who fucking knows? Now we're going algorithms and who's pushing what out. How much content do you like and what do you subscribe to? And you're gonna see the bullshit that they want you to see. Like when we first like, oh, look at what's happening around the world. Like there's all this negative shit that's going on, and it's basically like, I mean, I don't know anything about stuff like that and how the social media fucking algorithm things work and how AI is like.
But if you hear negative,
yeah, that's all you're gonna like. My mom always says like, I mean, I come from a Christian family. Like I'm a God-fearing man. Like, or at least I say I am. I don't always walk the straight and narrow. You know, I've got problems in myself, and you know, I'm a sinner in every aspect. But garbage in is garbage out, dude. Yeah. My mom always used to tell me like, the what you take in is what you're gonna put out, and not that I'm like holier than thou or like haven't made mistakes and currently making mistakes with like every fucking thing I do in life. It's like I'm not gonna look to fucking social media influencers to be like, what is this guy gonna do to change my life, or what is this other fucking person gonna do? Like they're living their dream life and I'm stuck here in reality. What reality is the way that I'm living. Like I have a like.
I feel like that needs to be more of that.
We need to be focused on the fucking things that we have in front of us and what we're fortunate to do. Like I'm able to stand on my own 2 fucking feet and grab a beer with my own fucking hand and like communicate without.
That's more or less. You're talking about being in the present, because think about it. Everyone on Instagram is always planning and teaching you how to maneuver yourself so you can be successful in the future.
Well, they might tell you that.
Exactly.
I mean, like, how are you gonna go and allow somebody that you don't even know to tell you
your life.
the way that you should be living your life? Like,
I agree.
And this is what we were talking about earlier about like, I can't do anything for anybody else until I look inward. And again, not fucking omnis dominus. I've been saved and everything's
no, but
fucking
everything
all good.
you're saying right now is that you're able to look at yourself and identify what isn't right, and I think that's a rare quality.
I think that
I'm just starting to get to that too.
I
dude.
I know.
Listen, I feel like we both have worked towards that, dude. Because honestly, it took me a while to see to myself that wasn't what I was doing. And when you can at first identify that problem in yourself, you can actually work towards fixing it. And I feel like whenever you're truthful to somebody, they take offense off the rip. But the only person that's going to be truthful, really truthful to you nowadays, is someone that cares to do it.
That, and also somebody that's not like being fucking untrue about where they come from.
Of course.
You know, like how do you know that these people that are like even me, for example, who is telling you these, like, where does the credibility come from? Where does it be like, oh, this guy's a fitness instructor and he says that I should do that? Like, this guy's a veteran that is succeeding with Bitcoin.
And I believe it because it says it in his bio.
But that's the society that we... I fucking hate it. But that having kids and being a dad and trying to like navigate all these fucking things, it's like, where did it all go wrong, dude? Where did it all go wrong? Where it's there's no morality left. There's no.
I think no, you're right, and we always we identify all the problems.
I shouldn't say there's no morality left. There's just a lot of bullshit.
It looks that way. I mean, we're just calling a spade a spade. Now, I think the only way to actually combat this or do something to change it is exactly what we're doing right now. And honestly, is starting the conversation to even just address it.
Yeah.
Because it goes unsaid. I mean, as we said before, our 9-to-5s take over. At the end of the day, we can talk about problems all day. You know, everything that's wrong with the country, but we still have to go to work.
Right, the next day. But what are you doing to like make an impact on that? Right, like where. Excuse me, I don't drink fucking beers that often, and when I do, I get fucking real burpy. Cheers. So, I shouldn't say I don't drink beers that often. I mean, I drink beers, but
it's all good.
Mixing it with some Basil Hayden, I'm like,
that's actually delicious. It goes down very smooth.
It's fantastic. I love it. But fuck, what were we talking about?
I mean, we had a point in mind.
I lose train of thought all the fucking time, and here we are.
Well, let's think about what we're really trying to say here. I mean, we know that everyone can be real that right now is a difficult time. We're not united, to say the least, and I think it feels like everyone's at each other's necks.
But who's everyone and what's not united? That's what I'm like.
And that comes down to two sides.
Look at I mean, you say two sides. It's not just black and white, brother. There's so many different fucking aspects of things, and like where people align,
are we talking
how
United
they
States,
view.
or are we talking, spectrum?
I don't talk about anything other than the United States. Like, I mean, yeah. Is there problems going around in the world? Sure, but like, I'm a motherfucking American, brother.
It's so difficult when we get down to like what really is going on with the United States, because it gets very negative. It really does. Well, if you look at it and be honest about it, if we're going to just be no bias involved and just call it like it is, it sucks because it turns into like a very difficult, slippery slope.
Yeah, but again, I'm not trying to be like the fucking Chat GPT like fact-checking robot, but but who's telling you that it's that way? Like with the people that I communicate with and the people that I interact with, like, yeah, there's fucking differences, but I don't see people at each other's throat every single day. Like on social media, you look in a fucking comment section, it's a bunch of people fucking beating off in their mom's basement or fucking taking a shit in their bathroom, talking shit about somebody or saying something that they have a opinion about, and more likely than not, It's somebody that has no experience behind it, and we're allowing it to just like, I'm gonna get mad.
No, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like we're a few months away from an election, bro.
Yeah, but
Trump just almost got assassinated.
But that okay, so that is what you're talking about. We're allowing the way. Okay, so that happened, and then people create a narrative where they say that what they think. The information comes, or people start saying things before the actual information is understood and processed. And I'm just talking about the way that it's this disconnect between the. There's a lot of bullshit that's going on, and how do you decipher between what is like somebody peddling bullshit and somebody that's telling you something that's going to be beneficial to you? Like, who's your fucking source? Like, go back to English fucking 106.
Hold on. Let me answer that to you. Now, when I say that, I'm referring to one side being kind of flabbergasted that this even happened in the United States today, that Trump almost got assassinated, and then another side being like, mad that he missed. You know what I'm saying? Well, that to me is the two sides I'm referring to.
It's been created already. It's been created since the fucking. I mean, now we're getting into politics. I fucking hate. It's been.
Slow down.
Talking politics.
Slow down. I'm not even trying to talk politics. I'm just trying to say that the world is at odds with each other. No, the United States.
It has everything to do with politics because the division was created between this like, here we stand here and here we stand here.
Now, before you go any further, personally, do you consider yourself one side?
No.
Because I don't either. No. I don't either. Now, saying that...
You should be able to buy a $240 on Amazon and smoke weed while you fuck a dude at the same time. If you want to be gay...
That's your business.
You want to buy a belt-fed machine gun...
Facts.
You want to smoke some weed... Go and do it. It's none of my business. Yep. When you go... yeah.
No, I agree with you. And I think that... You know, I've never been... Listen, I hang out with a lot of people that are Republican... But I understand both sides, and it seems like there can be extremists.
I mean, I don't understand both sides. I mean, there's like some side of the spectrum that, and not like say that I only.
What are both sides though?
Conservative and liberal, or Republican and Democrat. Like, there's I mean, I don't agree with a lot of fucking things, but who cares about individual perspectives, right? It's always it's like the same thing. It's like a column of files, or like the communication. Like everything breaks down in threes, right? Like. Battalion, company, fucking platoon, and
I think
it all trickles down, brother. That's what I'm saying. Like
the main thing is, I just want the United States to succeed. I want us to live in a free country that that we're all doing well in.
Dude,
that's it.
I got kids, brother. I don't want any struggle and strife. Remember what happened? We talked with fucking toilet paper. Like you want like I have 3 small kids, and excuse me, again, sorry. Imagine if that was food and water, and then you got people out here like advocating for like, I train. Oh, excuse me. I mean, I do firearms training and shit too. Like I travel all over and do all that kind of shit. But people think like because you zeroed your rifle and you like shot some steel targets in the woods and like know how to pack a fucking ruck that you're gonna be sustainable when everything fucking collapses around you, right? Like. And there's people that want bad things to happen, and those people are very, very I don't want to say uneducated, but like unexperienced to what the tragedies and experiences that come from.
They've never tasted
it. Like from things like
mean?
that. Like just seeing the destruction and seeing the way that like people have to live their lives and the consequences that come from that.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, why would you ever fucking wish for that on your home ground?
They've never seen it before.
And that doesn't mean that I'm like somebody that's like when push comes to shove, obviously you should stand firm, and there's no directive or anything that I say behind that. It's just hypothetically in the sense of it when push comes to shove, like you have to have
it needs to be a line in the
threshold,
sand. I agree with you completely.
And it's the same thing we talked about too. Like like years later, like the way that you think about what went
changes. It does. Yeah. It does. And that to me is normal. I mean, I don't want to be the same ignorant person that I was at one time, dude. As you grow, you learn, and you change your outlook on things. To me, if you don't, you're ignorant. You're not progressing.
Right. You're always a student in everything that like again, like we'll obviously get into like the learning and training firearms and fucking like you're always a student being able to progress from where you're at. You're never a master of that. And like when it comes to transition communication, not transition sexually, but from the military and like because I think you gotta say that nowadays. Yeah. I don't know. But there's a tactful way that you have to be able to do things, dude. And I think that we lack that in so many ways because of what the norms are and what people expect of you.
Okay. I mean, we're talking about a lot of things right now.
Yeah, we've gone like way down the rabbit hole before we even got on a.
Not now, to say all that, do you think it breaks down to something as simple as a strong leader?
Well, what do you mean? What breaks down to is like the way that like your pedigree comes from.
No,
like,
no. What I'm saying is to try to turn things around in the right direction. Because right now, I mean, I think we can all be somewhat honest about the fact that the leader is not equipped to lead
I have
a country.
I have no comment on that. That's not my. I'm not
just saying-
versed in. I
So right now, I think we can agree with the United States is not.
at its peak performance. Yeah.
Do you think something could change with like as simple as just changing that fact, putting a strong leader, and a strong leader is subjective. I get that.
Okay, so it's like this. Like let's say you have like a platoon sergeant or a squad
This is
leader,
what I'm
a
trying to
platoon
say, yeah.
commander, right? Like, and then like guys either bad to go or good to go, and then like a replacement happens for X, Y, and Z reasons, and then it's like there's like, oh hey, like like you could get a Dick Winters or a Sobel, like or you could get a what's the guy that fucking ran in with the. What's the other dude's fucking name that shot all the Germans? Like, you want a cigarette? And Spears.
Oh, Spears.
All right, so
Yeah.
it's like
Badass.
whatever type of leader it is, right? I'm just making this like general fucking whatever. So like they come in and like either they have a reputation, they don't, whatever it may be, but like that's the type personality they are,
Yep.
and they come into a new environment, right? Like whether they're prepped or not prepped, like it takes time. Like that you don't just like get a new leader and they're like,
you're
oh,
right,
now I
you're
know
right.
fucking call for fire and I
grow
can
with the
call a
people.
9-line and
Yeah.
all this shit. Like it's like you have to go through a process of
Somewhat
training and like
adversity, yeah.
and then it's like, oh shit, like you go on a deployment and like you get an SOP and then you got boots and then you got to retrain and then you got a new
adjust.
SOP from
Yep.
the battalion
Yep.
and it's like so it's like you get a new leadership position, right? And whatever level that's at, you start to establish things and then things go well or maybe they go bad. And then you got like this cycle that goes through and then all of a sudden, like nobody's in your platoon anymore. You re-enlisted, you're fucking here. Like, yeah, leadership does matter, but at the end of the day, it's like how it's implemented and also, I'm not trying to like lose my train of thought here, but it's how it's implemented and it takes time
No, I get it.
to establish that rapport, the ability to change things that were already put in place prior, like
That's not
how do
talked
you
about
how do you
enough.
just think that like one person comes in and
everything can
this is
change.
where it just boggles my mind. And I'm sure people will get the like you just like, yeah, one person's gonna come in and like
Everything's
next
gonna
thing's gonna
change.
change.
Yeah.
Like
No,
it's not the way
not.
it fucking
Yeah.
happens, dude. And anybody that's been in a situation like that or had a fucking
Can understand
ineffective
that. Yeah.
squad due to X, Y, and Z reasons, whether it be combat or training or whatever, like it takes time to build rapport. It takes time to build the relationships. It takes time to move forward to like, I'm sure like, oh, new guy on the team, like we're doing fucking CQB at nighttime, like shoot, no shoot. And then you go in and they got it's like, okay, well, he's going to learn a hard lesson of like, I didn't have the experience that you guys did. Now we need to get you up to speed on set. Like,
I hear you. I
I
hear
don't
you,
know.
and you're not wrong. I hear that. Now, okay, we'll call it a spade a spade. We're in a position right now where we're about to get a new president. As you know, when that changes, a lot of things change with it. The services change, certain rules are adjusted. What does that mean for a Marine Corps of today? Like, what I mean, as you know, like big things are happening in the Marine Corps. A lot of different things. MOSs are dropping. New things are coming in.
bro, the Marine Corps is fine. Marine Corps
How'd you
is
know
fine.
where I was going with that?
I don't know. I just like you're like I mean I
Tell me why the Marine Corps is fine. To you.
because of the leadership that's still there, because of the guys that are still there that care. Like, I mean, I don't know all the Instagram handles of these dudes, but from like, so sorry, I stepped on the dog. Trying to move my seat. They're from the small unit level and in so many different ways. There's all these Instagram profiles out there, and these guys like, I don't want to say showcasing, but like putting out the
Showcasing.
capabilities of what they're capable of, right? And like the things that they're doing for the Marine Corps, within the Marine Corps, and like I think it. I mean, I don't know the numbers and statistics, but I feel like that the.
I made this a topic, dude, because it's something that's being talked about right
We talk
now.
about the recruiting shit.
Not just the recruiting shit. So I may have butchered this name, but it's Eric Edelman, who's the vice chair of the National Defense Strategy Commission. He's talking in a Senate meeting, and he's talking about how weak our armed forces is right now, bro. And yes, some of it has to do with recruiting, bro. We are down in a lot of fucking categories when it comes to the number of people we have in the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. But there's a lot of other things that go into that. We were just talking earlier.
I mean, like obviously funding and like the ability the whole the DEI aspect of things and like the way that you have to like.
These are real things, Mike.
They are. But at the same time, you can't negate these things because they're like hot topics within everyday society. So when you are a entity like the armed forces, and then it's just like, excuse me, you want to be like, oh, we're war fighters through and through. Like we don't fucking. Jeez, sorry, I'm burping so much. This is not a joint, it's just a cigarette, so just so everybody knows. You need to, I don't want to say placate, right? I don't want to say like they're like gaming the game, but like we have to open opportunity up to people. Now, is the push for wanting certain individuals to be in positions because of X, Y, and Z? No, it should be based on merit. Like we all know that, right? But in order to keep the things moving in the right direction, along with the way, like it's the same way of like, oh, those damn kids are listening to that rock and roll, or they're skateboarding outside the front of the house. You know, like every generation has that like shift of being like
new things.
They don't like, and maybe that's a bad correlation
so.
and things like that. But
you sat across the table from me right now, and you were very confident in the fact that the Marine Corps is okay.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I don't agree with that,
yeah.
and I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with that.
Fuck yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand that there are strong leaders in place still, and I know them personally. I know there are, but it seems to me that the things that we're addressing right now, recruiting issues, funding issues.
Brother,
MOS is dropping.
You know the fucking funding issues. The tanks got fucking taken away. Maybe you fucking had to butter jam some shit when you did 401 or fucking.
Okay, hold on. Shit pops off, right? We just talked about Iran.
Brother, what happened?
Hold on, let me get this across to you. Say something does pop off with fucking BRICS, with fucking China, with Russia. This is a World War III situation. Who's going to be really fighting that? The Army. Okay, so right now the Army is significantly understaffed.
We're talking about hypotheticals right now.
But that's I mean, hypothetical, whatever. I mean, this is something that could happen.
Hypothetical. What if that's the fucking the Pacific area and the motherfucking Marines are island hopping again? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just say like that if things pop off, it's gonna be the Army, right? Like, there's the whole infrastructure in itself, the whole military industrial complex, if you will. There's fucking carriers all over the place. There's dudes on fucking Muse. There's units on standby ready to deploy. There's guys out there still fucking getting it. There's the equipment change and the ability for, my buddy told me that his friend is working at infantry training battalion right now, and the things that they're doing with these Marines is like basically like going to infantry squad leaders course in motherfucking ITB. Like they've got the instructors that are getting ready to go be instructors, being platoon leaders for fucking PFCs, really? And they're training these kids on like more than just like, I mean, you go out your first 5K or whatever it is, and you go to the range and you're doing fucking buddy rushes, and you got the one guy with the saw that can't keep it up and all that. Like, they're doing more in-depth things to make these Marines more lethal. Now, this is just hearsay. Like, I don't know this for a fucking fact, but I know that the guys that I talk to are like vetted sources, and they're fucking war fighters through and through. Yep. And they're, like my buddy's out, but his friend is still in, and I don't need to like name fucking names. But they're doing things that are keeping fucking junior, like, there's a progression to things, right? In the battles fought, battles fucking won, titles fucking earned, and because of those things, creates new SOPs, new doctrinal ways.
We'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, that's progression in every single way. So, I think that it's I don't know, unless you hear it from the horse's mouth. It's so
No, I
much,
get it.
and again, I'm speaking on things that are not from the horse's mouth. Like we have to be confident in our capabilities
I hear you.
in order to be proficient at
I hear
what
that.
we're doing. And if we lack that confidence, like what does that show to the men and women that are signed up to serve? Like, well,
But don't get confidence.
why am I serving my country?
Don't get
anymore?
confidence confused with just being real about a situation. Don't get me wrong, we can be confident, but at the same time, sometimes confidence, blurs out capabilities to be honest about certain things. We need to be honest about things to fix them.
What things do you think?
I mean, once again, we're going to what you just said, somewhat hearsay. People that I know that are in that I trust. I mean, you brought up island hopping. To me, enablers are a huge, huge, cog in that system. We need to be able to get this stuff over there.
But we're already like the cognitive marine. Like I've communicated with these I believe he's a lieutenant colonel.
Yep.
They're doing things already to maintain sustainability within these fucking small units, right? Like they're teaching guys how to like live off the land and be able to be like efficient without having like generators and fucking, like you remember any PB you went to, generators running 24/7, COCs rigged up, there's AC units going off, or
Needs
there's
to be
fucking
some kind of
whatever.
power source.
Excuse me. But what happens when there is no power source? Are we training for those things? Then when it comes down to it, when it's like motherfucking LCAC lands on and you got all these fucking things coming off, like think of when the Marines go to Peleliu in World War II. I think it was that or Okinawa, and they're like pushing the airfield or whatever. And this is all from the Pacific and reading like Helmet for My Pillow and Eugene Sledge's book and shit. Like they get like the water's tainted. The Marines have no water. It's like day 3, they're dehydrated, and then like all of a sudden, motherfucking either whistles or like Japs are coming running at you. Like where does your performance level meet because of the training that you've done prior and all the experiences? Now these guys had already been well versed in combat by the time they got there, but it's like where are we finding the sustainability for our Marines when they're in these positions where the support assets are like, oh, we'll come airdrop some fucking shit to you. Like, we were in Afghan, you get some fucking cases of water that explode all over the place and shit, right? Like, it's like, okay, well, what about anti-air defense? What about, like, a sustained military that has the capability to take down air assets? You can't just, like, drop down fucking pallets. Like, they land in the wrong place. What happens? They land in front of enemy lines. It's a fucking minefield. It's artillery. Like, all these factors that go into play, it's just... You can't game the game, and you have to be the most prepared that you can be. And there's Marines that are out there, right, and soldiers and sailors and airmen, I'm sure, and space guards and coast guards, and that's not being facetious. I hope any space force and coast guard service members that like we have to be proficient in all these areas, and we need to know like what is the next step when these things like. People joke about like Battlefield fucking 4 it like takes place in like Taiwan or whatever. It's like you see like the memes like, oh, Nancy Pelosi fucking stocks went down, so I'm in fucking Taiwan, and it's like a Battlefield 4 fucking promo video or whatever.
Now listen,
like,
I hear what you're saying, but to be proficient in these things, we need leaders. We said we know people that are good leaders. Yes, I get it. But we also talked about DEI. We also talked about VERP. We also talked about COVID. What did all these things do, Mike?
Yeah.
These things pushed out some significant people.
They did, but then now I heard like Sean Ryan talking about the way that they were like trying to bring back in service members from X amount of age to X amount of age for whatever roles and variations. And not that that's like the right thing to do, but you like, what do you... Adapt, and it's so fucking basic and so stupid the way that I say it. Like adapt and overcome, right? Like as like straightforward as it is. It's like you get an obstacle, and it's like, okay, do we dynamic aerial breach? How are we breaking the threshold or the obstacle and getting to the other side, being productive, efficient, like capable, and all these fucking things like. We train in so many different areas, and I think people, because of the shit that they see on whatever the fuck it is out there that they're watching, like they lose confidence in people that are out there that still have a proficient mindset or like the want to be like the sharpened tip of the spear. Like we negate those guys, and I shouldn't say negate those guys, but we're so fixated on, excuse me, the negative and what's wrong, that we don't recognize the good. And if anybody's been in the fucking Marine Corps before, they know those things. Like when you do your safety brief on a Friday before you leave to go on your 96, do they say, hey, if you see a car that's fucking flipped over on the side of the highway, before the fucking dog took a shit on the floor and we had to take a quick pause and
new doggo,
clean up the little puppy poop. But
trying to figure out a name for her. I don't know yet. We gotta find something cool. I wanted something like, dude, I was thinking I was gonna get a guy and be like Claymore or Bambino, like something like hard like that. But
Bambino, walking.
Now that it's a girl, it's like kind of, I don't know. I gotta figure out something that jives.
Yeah, there's plenty of badass bitches out there, you know. Yeah. Like fucking Alpha Mae Johnson, first Marine, 1918, or if that was the right year.
How am I gonna explain that to people when I say OFA?
I mean, dude,
just yell it, just like that.
Have you ever? You don't know who OFA is? Are you
serious?
Fucking kidding me right
fucking
now?
Boot.
You never stood in line at Chow waiting to fucking.
So true. Okay, so we were talking about leaders.
Well, it was more like how we're like, what the ultimate culminating thing was, like, you know, we're focused on these negative aspects, and I was talking about like, oh, before 96, you talk about fucking don't drink and drive and do all these things, instead of like, you know, be proactive for the people out there, like be supportive, like, you know, do the right thing,
be a good Marine.
Yeah, and like we focus so much on these negative aspects that it's like it's a constant talking point. It's all the negativity and all the things that are done wrong.
And there's a reason it keeps happening. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, because Marines like to drink, fight, and fuck.
Facts.
And like there's
Facts.
like, you know, problems that really come from that. But I think that we need to be able to be more proficient in terms of showcasing the beneficial things that come from like positive leadership and like hard work and like putting your fucking nose on the grindstone and being a sponge, you know, like learning the knowledge and taking things in. Like you join the fucking military and like on top of that, you join the fucking United States Marine Corps to what? Like, I mean, I don't know why you joined, but like, I mean, like, I remember seeing videos of dudes shooting fucking AT-4s
to do the damn
yeah,
thing,
like,
bro.
240s off rooftops, AT-4s at mosques, fucking JDAMs, and I'm not trying to be like, it's like
we know why we joined the Marine Corps, bro.
There's a whole purpose on the why it happened, right? But we need to focus on the good things that are being done out there, like fucking Nashawn Campbell, fucking gunfighter, you know, like employing fucking veterans and like still staying.
That's awesome.
As
that
a field, yeah. I mean, like being a field grade officer and then running a small business.
Is it Gunfighter Canyon?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, on
Great
Arizona.
thing going. Yeah.
You know, like and like the showcase of like leadership in more areas than just like being a Marine that can like tell people what to do. Like show me how you're proficient. Like guys like what's his name, Norseman.
Norseman 9.
Yeah, Don Reynolds, right?
Yep.
Like I believe he's a sergeant major.
Yep, we were just talking about him.
Yeah, and the story. There's like the story that he like just posted it the other day. Or whatever. Fucking post a story about them talking about raising money for the Marine Corps ball, or like they did this like
a hike or something.
I don't know if it was a civilian side event or like a Marine Corps thing, whatever. They're doing it like to raise money for Marine Corps ball, and he's like, I'll be damned if my Marines are gonna do like a car wash to raise money,
corny,
and talks about like the struggle that they go through to do these things, and like the like I don't know, like the pain that you go through to suffer, and I don't know the whole spectrum, and I might be getting this wrong, but like to get to the other side to where you're going, and like at the end of the hike, he's like, you know, it finishes, and this Marine comes up to me and hands me.
So they're doing a hike to raise money, though.
I think so. I think that's the premise. Like
okay.
I'm not 100% on the facts of like where this goes, but
okay. So.
You know, like at the end of the hike, whatever, like this Marine comes up to him, and I'm hoping it's like a junior enlisted guy that just had the balls to do it.
Right.
Like give him a fucking beer, and he's like, this Marine came up and gave me a
Solid
beer.
Shit right
you know,
there.
yeah, that's like it's like he's like like this. He's like, I wondered where the fucking beer came from, and I asked the kid like, where'd the beer come from, and he packed out like a fucking 30 rack or whatever.
You know why that's significant? That's one guy that took the initiative for the whole team to suffer. For the whole team, just to bring beer for everybody.
Like, yeah, it's like, well, you wonder like the sense of like camaraderie, or people ask and question why the Marine Corps is the way that it is. It's because of little things like that. Yeah. Because at the end of it, through the suffering, through the struggle, it's like you got this fucking, you know, unit, this connected, intertwined understanding, like it through the suck, and they're like
everyone's
cheers
suffering
into
together.
a warm, like I think the
doesn't
words
matter that it's warm. Doesn't matter.
yeah, he's like, I think the words that he used were like warm, shaken up beers. It probably was like a fucking Busch Light or a PBR or some
doesn't
shit,
matter.
You know? But
they all enjoyed one together.
And I'm not saying like that. Your weekend battalion safety brief should be fucking. Well, you should hike it, like drinking beer with Marines and all those things. But like we're so focused on all these things that have been done wrong and mistakes that are made, and we like, well, in every battalion, I'm sure there's the fucking this many days without a fucking incident or shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, what happens when you get to number 5 or number 27 or 365? You know, like well,
nothing.
Thanks. We know that you didn't punch the fucking OOD or something, having a pool party in the barracks. You know, like having a keg in the shower and dudes running around butt naked, kicking doors in and jumping in the shower with their corpsmen. I don't know who would do that, but
ridiculous.
But no, like all joking aside, like we need to find a way to like show the positives, and I think there's a lot. Like I don't know if this coming full circle, and we talked about like a lot of the negative things and all these things. Like we need to showcase or like put out there more of the camaraderie and why, and not on just the level of like inner platoon, like inner Marine Corps, inner military, and stand more so like on our own 2 feet and be more of a solid structure, and we're just like lacking that for whatever reasons. And we can game the game or like point fingers and tell people where it's at, but it always starts at the lowest level. It does. Like you need to be able to have the mind. Why do you do this? Why are you here? We see all these fucking TikTok videos now, and like, not that I didn't take boot pictures of me with a fucking BFA on my M4 with no NVG mount on my Kevlar and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody did that. Everybody was there. All those little things fucking happened, and like, time progresses as it goes on, but like that's not what it is. That's what you see. There's something deeper, and there's a more professional aspect to every side of the branch of the military in certain communities. It's just the fucking, it's like you build 1,000 bridges and you suck one dick and they call you a dick sucker. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was a fucking boot, my first team leader, he told me, Giuliano, you know, you can call, my first name's Lance, my middle name's Corporal, and my last name's Kirby, but you can just call me Lance Corporal Kirby. And I'm going to tell you 3 things about the you know, like that you need to do in the Marine Corps. And it's like, first, know your job, right? 2, know the basics. And number 3, don't suck dick, because dick suckers never get anywhere. And it's like you instill a little bit of that fucking understanding at the lowest levels, and then
and expand off dick suckers. What does that mean to you?
That's getting into the woods, brother. I think people can pick out their own interpretations of what that
means. I mean,
means.
someone might point the finger at you.
It has no homosexual reference whatsoever. It's not just like, you know...
it means more than that.
Hanging out at the fucking village pub for all you perverts out there that I know that were. No, but...
it means sticking by your guys, man. It means not throwing anybody under the bus. Yeah. It means suffering as a unit together.
Well, but... Yeah, it's like the don't be the Blue Falcon aspect of things and all that stuff. But like, I think that's already established. Like a lot of these guys like understand those things, but it needs to be more broadcasted upon instead of the fucking negative. And maybe there's a better, or different way of doing things, but it's not just like when you post shit on Instagram, it's not just other Marines that see it, it's not just other service members that see it, it's civilians that see it. And it's like the way that we set this like image of what a service member or a veteran is.
During your time in, when was it that you felt the most cohesive with a group of men? When was it that you felt the most complete and the most confident in yourselves as a body or a unit together?
Fighting your friends in the barracks or something. I don't know.
I mean, it brings people together.
Like crushing fucking Keith Stones in a fucking little mini pool filled with ice in the middle.
What I'm getting at, what was it that caused that?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe range 400 when you're fucking gassed out and you breach in the fucking.
So all suffering together.
It's not just one thing. It's all these collective instances, and that's why
But those collective instances happen for a reason. Something allows it to keep progressing.
Well, I mean, I think you're kind of forced to, no matter what. Like, even if there's the guy that you fucking hate in your platoon, like at the end of the day, like you
put that aside and you get after it.
Yeah, if they don't perform, like, I mean, we've all seen it, like the guy
See you
that
later.
slacks, and that not, well, it's not always just see you later, brother. Like, there's the guys out there that were fucking stepping outside the wire that, like, would fall out of fucking patrols, or the guys that would have their shit fucked up, or forget to put their fucking batteries in their NVGs, or whatever it is. There's all the different sides of it, and the only way any of that shit has changed is with, I mean, obviously internally, and being like accepting of the fact that everybody's dealing with this shit together. Okay, it's not just you, it's everybody together, right? And I'm guilty of the guy fucking
We all are.
I'm
Come on, let's
fucking,
be
I
real.
mean, I but like everybody's doing it together. It's for a fucking, whether you're in 29 Palms, Afghanistan, Japan, Korea, or fucking wherever you're at. Like you fall to your lowest level of training. You are as good as the weakest link. Like, in everything, like you can hate the fucking guy, but at the end of the day, if when push comes to shove, you need to be able to be proficient in what you do, and sometimes there are liabilities that are intertwined with that, and I think a lot of people understand of the consequences that come from that, you know, like
But now, when you had certain things fall short, or guys falling out in country mostly, or weren't able to complete certain tasks that are necessary, to me, in my scenario, and every time that I was in country, they got
your ass beat.
Or they got, you don't even want to go that far.
I mean, why not? That's the truth, isn't it?
It's true,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
not only that, but they get put on double shifts with,
well, that's obviously that's not the right way to fucking take care of it. Like, okay, fucking fell asleep on post is the right thing to put him on fucking post again right after
But does
he
that
fell
not
asleep
happen?
on post.
Does that?
It does, and that, I mean, like, kids,
we're gonna get into
kids
it.
being hazed so much that
We're gonna get into that
yeah,
now.
say
Okay.
they wanna
Okay.
fucking,
So let's get into hazing, dude. Hazing is something that we
Isn't
both.
it called extracurricular activities or something, or like
Does that really
IT?
get changed too?
No. I'm
Are
just
we
being
gonna get into
I'm being
un-
facetious. I'm being
unaliving
facetious. It's
people
like,
and-
well, what did you call it when you went to the quarterdeck? You got IT'd, right? Wasn't that what the
Slayed?
fuck is, what does IT stand? I don't even know what IT stands for. Like
Intense
individual training or
individual
something.
training,
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But like, I mean, like, think about that. Like, that was hazing at the boot camp level. Like, okay, you fucked up. Go pick 1, 2, 3, 4 to come fucking get slayed with you.
Yep.
And somebody can like, well, there's a purpose to it, and there's a reason why. No, it's the purpose is pain, and pain fucking retains. And that's
Pain
why
retains.
when somebody does something wrong, you go and pick people that you have to come up to the quarterdeck with, and from an individual, like the day one of tornadoes and doing all the shit, like
Sugar
somebody
cookies.
taking a stinky shit in the fucking shitter,
Facts.
and then the whole platoon has to run in and turn on the vacuum, aye, sir, like all these fucking things. Like, you're gonna tell me that at the and I'm not trying to say that this is bad whatsoever.
Not either.
I am not trying to negate the fact that this is a purposeful thing that is a.
There's a
like,
reason. There's a
well,
reason.
there should be a harder fucking weeding out process.
what I'm
Did
saying.
you not go to
I agree.
fucking boot camp with kids that you were like, what are you doing here?
Facts.
What are you doing here?
That's gonna point at
I mean,
recruiting.
like, every night when we do our BDR shit or whatever, like what bed BDR whatever
Yeah,
routine,
whatever.
you like get your fucking letters. I mean, there was this kid, like, he cried every fucking night. He was from Hawaii, he never left the island before. His name started with a G, my name started with a G. He's right fucking next to me, and every time he's like reading a letter from his parents, and he's fucking crying, dude. Like, at night when you hear kids and they're wrecked. I remember going to sleep and like saying like good night, Chesty, wherever you are or whatever. Like, I laid in my rack, and like I was ready for what was to come next. I was like afraid of the unknown, but I knew
Kinda
like
pushes you a
I
little
got
bit.
this far. Like, everybody talks about like buds, right? Like, and not to negate that. Yeah, I'm sure buds is definitely buds is harder than boot camp.
Yeah.
Buds is harder than boot camp. Marine Corps boot camp was fucking easy. If you're like, Marine Corps boot camp was I didn't go to boot camp in fucking 1991. I didn't go to boot camp in 2001 or 2004. I went to boot camp in 2009. All right, like, we might have gotten hemmed up in the fucking whiskey locker. Is
Big
that
gear-
what it's called?
big gear
Well, but,
locker?
like, the whiskey locker where they kept all your fucking devil dog and fucking body spray, whatever the shit that was called. Like, what the fuck was it called, dude? There was it was like the smell good, right? That's what they called it. And you had like squirt it in the fucking mop bucket, and everybody's like,
remember,
that's
dude.
what you use to clean the fucking bear or the squad bay. It literally smelled like it. But the whiskey locker, that's where all the shit was stored.
Yeah.
And you get
That's
like
where
one
you
of the
got
drill
dragged into and
instructors
get the
to
shit kicked
fucking
out of
pick
you.
you up against the
Yeah.
wall. We had this kid, and I won't name his name, but it started with an S, and he was a redhead. And anybody that knows who I am knows that they went to boot camp with this kid. He had his name tattooed across his back.
Oh, God.
And he, like, a drill instructor hammed him up.
People get slayed with tattoos before they go to boot camp.
No, but he was older. I think he was a couple years older. It wasn't like an EGA or some shit, you know. But like,
Still.
he got like hemmed up by a drill instructor, and the next day we get like an investigator in there, and the kid like narked on the. It was like, it wasn't our. We had like our. It was when you get an oncoming drill instructor that fucking mirrors your class or whatever. And
left seat, right seat.
I mean, the kid didn't get. I remember seeing it, dude. He didn't get assaulted. He didn't get hurt. He just got hemmed up and like yelled at in the face. Like, my dad was a union plumber for fucking 30-something years.
So he ran it up the chain of command?
No, I don't know how it happened. He fucking narked, and next thing you know, there was like a major and somebody that came into our squad bay, and they were like asking Marines questions about what had happened, and the drill instructor that was the guy, like, he got relieved, and we got a different guy. We got a different guy that had come in. Like, all of our initial drill instructors were there, right? There was none of them. It was like, but the point that I'm making is like the fact that we're trying to create like every Marine's a rifleman. Like, we go and talk back about like running the wheat fields and and fighting in Bellawood. Like, you go back to World War II and the island hopping campaign, and you go to Korea and you go to Vietnam, and it's like every Marine was a rifleman, right? Like, every Marine is not a rifleman anymore. Like, fucking, like, I'm not trying to insult anybody. There's plenty of different jobs and MOSs out there, but there is a huge gap in the lack of actual practical application that Marines get from X, Y, and Z, from that schoolhouse to this and this, and they're focused on a job type, but like, we should be like, there's like this kid Booth Warnock, the strategic enabler, right? And I don't like know him personally, but I follow his shit and I respect the fuck out of it, because somebody that's going outside the spectrum of like what is like the norm and pushing the standard, like anybody that is a student or anybody that's like your baseline's here, well then we're looking for it to be here or here or moving it this way. Like, you're never just staying stagnant. Right? Like, that's the, like, Justin Egan, dude, told me, like, stay stagnant or be kinetic. You know, like you're gonna be here, you're gonna get eaten up if you fucking,
he says some hard shit, dude. I love
speed,
this stuff.
surprise, and violence of action wins the fucking day. You know, like, I just.
No, hold on. We're going.
Sorry, I know. We went.
So we're talking about hazing, though. We're talking about hazing. Listen. That's significant in this time, because the young guys are making a big deal about it, man. I'm not saying they're wrong.
I mean, did we not all experience that? Did we not, like, every new group that came in? I mean, there was like some.
We all dealt with it.
I mean,
I just thought that was something.
Like, what do you define hazing as, though? Because there's like a point of like it to me, it's more so of an indoctrination period, right? Like, it's like an indoc. When you get to the fleet, you have an indoc with the first 3 days, the first week, the first month,
metal tested.
and you're like, I'm gonna fuck with you. I'm gonna stick you in a wall locker. I'm gonna punch you in the head. I'm gonna make you drink Jack Daniels. You're gonna run sugar cookie.
Expected.
You're gonna do all these fucking things, and it's like, okay, like, then it's like, okay, boot, like, you know, like, you're still shaving your head, you're still a fucking boot, you're still going to be this, and like, you work your way through that point. And like, I remember the first time my seniors like asked me to, like, not forced me to drink a beer, but like asked me to drink a beer with them. It was like that feeling of like I made it, right? Like, it sounds silly. It sounds silly, but like, it's like you're like hanging out on the catwalk, and it's like your senior lance corporals that have already done a fucking deployment, and you're drinking a fucking Busch Light with them, smoking a fucking Cowboy Killer, and you're like,
finally feel
this
part
is
of
what
the
it. And then you're like, don't have to hide in your barracks room anymore, but you still get fucked up. But at the same time, it's like you have to. And that's where I took leadership lessons from. Like, there's things that I liked, there's things that I disliked, there's things that were like I wasn't like befriending everybody, but you have to, like, in order to build, right? Like, every officer loves, like, when you're writing, you're like, you need that in order to. Why? Like, in order to build those relationships, you have to have like an understanding of like, I will fuck you, like, I will be the hammer, I will be the mentor. You know, like, I will be there to guide you. And then after you go on your first deployment or whatever it is you do, when you prove yourself,
you progress.
When you get to that point, then it's like, okay, you take the reins, or like, you've made it to like.
But you need to go through
it's
some
a system of fucking merit, dude. It's not it's time and grade. Like, there's there's time and grade, and you just ride it out, and you fucking fall between the cracks. And then there's the guys that work hard and get fucking shit done, and they put themselves in advantageous positions to be leaders from the front. Like, that's what you need. And how do you sort through the muck and the mire to get to the fucking clam with the pearl? You know what I'm saying? Or the so yeah, pain.
That's what it is.
That's what. But then it puts guys in this position where they're afraid to like push
to do exactly what we're talking about.
Because they're and again, I like. Do I agree that people should get the shit beat out of them, or like? Yeah, I mean, it depends on the situation, but like. I feel like when you get field day, bro. Yes, I should be inside your fucking refrigerator, going between the little fucking hazing, squeaky cracks. That's not hazing. But then, if you get some shit fucked up, like, what do you do after that? How do you correct the mistake that's made? Right? Like, do you make them lick it with their tongue, or do you like? I mean, like, there's like, I don't know. Like, what do you do to make sure that they know that shit's something that needs to be cleaned in their barracks room?
When you get creative with things, people learn a little bit, more effectively.
I mean, like the story that I talked about you earlier, like making guys police call for cigarette butts, and it's not just because you want to prove a point that you're in control. It's the fact that there's a method to the madness, and you fucked up, so now I'm going to make you get on your hands and knees and crawl through the fucking the rocks.
But why?
And, well, look for the anomalies in the baseline. Like, you're going through your rocks and you're looking at all these things. Like, are you going to be able to pick something up that could possibly blend into your environment that will be
possibly an IED, possibly sniper. Looking for.
It's just fucking observation and seeing the things that are in front of you and knowing that there's got to be like. And then establishing that position of dominance. Like, if that's your subordinates, they need to know who's in charge. And also, it's the same thing, and it's a column of files through the chain of command. Like, your fucking platoon sergeant knows that platoon commander knows he's in charge. Everybody knows the structure. It's the same thing down to the base level. And I think that there was a difficult thing with guys coming in and then having a chip on their shoulder. Like, when I got to the fleet, dude, I was like,
to play devil's advocate, someone's going to argue with you or at least kids nowadays are saying that people are being reckless with it and they're hurting people, and there's no why, there's no purpose.
Give me an example.
I'm gonna not do the story justice.
Okay, all right. So basically, there's just shit that happens that maybe, for history, throughout, I guarantee you there's things that have gone overboard, right? It's the same thing with bad leadership or negative situations. When I'm talking about, like, there's the good things.
What would you constitute a bad hazing? Not bad hazing. Something that is not. I mean. Is not acceptable. As I get it, listen. It's hard to say that because
I don't know, making kids dig their own graves and then burying them in it.
Shit like that. But still, listen. Some of this shit.
I don't even know that's.
You got to go through shit like that, and it teaches you some shit. It gets engraved in you.
I think everybody's heard some story that I don't even know if it's legitimately true, but like somebody getting strapped between two mattresses and like tossed off the third deck and shit. That's what I'm saying. Shit like that. If that actually happened, I feel fucking bad for that guy because I'm claustrophobic.
That's a little over.
And I would freak the fuck out. I would not like that shit.
Not necessary. But honestly, when it comes to hazing, there's. Listen, usually there's a method to it. Usually there's a reason you're being taught something.
Or there's not.
Or, you can look at it.
Or there's not.
Subjectively.
Your fucking senior lance corporal or squad leader wants to make you feel
just fuck with you just because you guys aren't, performing. There's reasons.
Yeah. Or it's your third day in the fleet and you just got to get slayed.
And you got to get slayed. That's. Listen, there's a reason we joined the Marine Corps. I knew what I was getting, into. I knew it was, something that was gonna fucking test my shit, and I wanted that. And to circle back and to call uncle or tap out because someone's fucking with you, use that anger and apply it to what you're trying to accomplish. That's what should be happening. You shouldn't be fucking running up the chain and ratting on them. That to me is weak.
I agree. Like, narcs, like, fucking snitches get stitches in all aspects, but like fucking. It's not always just the guy that's getting, like, there's negative situations and all things, and again, nobody should be subjected to like fucking negative treatment. Terrible, but you need to go through a little bit of struggle and strife to get to the other side. It's the same thing with the hike and the beers at the end. Maybe that doesn't correlate the best way, but it's like, to get through this, you need to get to this, and then you're accepted, and then you get that feeling of ice cold beer, or I'm a part of
that
the team,
you deserve,
or I've made the cut.
Of course. When was that moment for you?
I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking wrong.
Infantry
squad leaders course.
Just
I'd already got. I remember I'd already gone on a deployment already, and like I was, seeing the shit and.
No, but everyone has their moment.
When I remember when I graduated, like when I knew that I knew we were in like the little warriors thing, right, and we having a good old time, and I left I called my mom. and I got like
Remember
teary.
this?
Oh, fuck yeah, I remember that shit. I'll never forget that day, dude. Infantry Squad Leaders Course, motherfucking class 12 TAC 1, dude. I had a bunch of bad motherfuckers that I was there with, and
What was the thing that you took away from it the most?
I just being a man, dude. Getting this like different perspective of what it was to be a leader when it really like. I mean, I've seen it before, right? Like I've seen like, but this was like something different. Like the training that put in place, like that's what fucking. It was awesome, right? Like it was difficult. It was strenuous. It fucking kicked you in the dick. It was like the points where like guys quit, dude. Guys fucking quit. They got injured. They quit. Like, you know, it's fucking whatever. We got there like 2 weeks early because they were supposed to be red, but then they didn't pick up. So then they combined black and red together, and then it was like so we were there 2 weeks early, and the instructors were like taking us on runs and like prepping us, whatever. So we were there collectively for like 9 weeks or like
It's the worst
I think
when
it's
you're
7
early,
weeks
dude.
or something, and we got a little extra time getting fucking slayed, but we got like 2 instructors per fucking squad, and like it was just more chaos and madness. But like I remember the feeling of like when we completed it, and I knew that like these other guys that I looked up to that were like, I was like, man, these are the fucking dudes. Like I'm a lance corporal there with like these corporals and sergeants that have been on multiple fucking deployments, and these guys are like running like. We were doing the 240 run, and I was like falling out. It's nighttime. I got a 240 over my shoulders, my M4, and I'm like falling out. And Leonard Roush, dude, like comes up, fucking grabs my 240 from me, 240s over his shoulders, just takes off to the front, you know, and like it's like
Damn, that
those
hits
were the
different.
kind of guys that like just like that they eat meat, dude. Lions gotta fucking eat. That's what he told me, and like. Like
That hits
seeing
different, dude.
shit like that, like it made me proud
Pushes
to
you.
be. It definitely pushed me. It made me proud to be like a part of that
Mold.
club
Yeah.
or that sector of guys. And that, again, like somebody carried my weight. Like somebody carried my
but
weight,
still,
bro.
what you're
Like
describing,
he took my fucking 240 from me and he took off to the front and like. But it's like seeing that, I was like
Makes you wanna
know,
match it.
and then on top of that too, that like you know, like I stood up in the guy's wedding, dude. Like I see him
Damn.
to this day.
Damn.
You know, like, we became friends from that, and like I hope. I mean, he saw something in me. I think that like we became friends from
Damn, that's hard.
brothers from, you know, and that was just going to infantry squad leaders course. We didn't even fucking deploy together.
But still, what you're describing right now is something you earned.
Right, so that feeling, right, getting back full circle after I blabber on about random shit. My mom, I call her, and I was like teary-eyed, dude. And this is even crazier. I'm talking to my mom outside, and I tell her, you know, love you, and she's like, I'm so proud of you, whatever. And then as I get off the phone with her, I see this guy walking through, Sergeant. I say, you know, good evening, Sergeant. And it was one of my fucking instructors from ITB, dude. And I had like, and God, what the fuck is the guy's name? I'm pretty sure he was with 2-4 in Ramadi. He was one of my ITB instructors. It was like, fuck, Williams maybe? Sergeant
what's the
Williams?
point?
But anyways, I saw him and I was like, hey, sorry. He's like, he remembered me, right? Because he had this like, he's like, Giuliano, you're gonna, you know, you'll be a good Marine. And I told him, I was like, you know, I came back from my first deployment, you know, we did our thing, and I just finished the infantry squad leaders course, and he like shook my hand, right? I'm a lance corporal, this is a sergeant. I'm pretty, whatever, right? The guy that you look up to, right? You're like, oh, I gotta keep going on the hike, so Sergeant fucking Winky doesn't fuck me up. And he's like, you know, like you did. You're like, I knew you would be like capable of doing something. Right?
That's
Like I
different.
had it didn't. That was like the defining moment for me. Like I went back to my unit ready to fucking rock and roll, and it was so disheartening to see the disconnect between like what that like advanced infantry training, you know, battalion was about, to going back to the fleet and then not having guys that were in that same mindset.
Hold on, I love that you just said that.
Let's pause because I gotta go pee. Sorry, guys.
So we just talked about you coming back from infantry squad leader course and being motivated, being, you know, piped up. You know, you're confident in yourself, you're confident in what you learned, and coming back to an environment where you don't really see that.
Well,
You know, coming back to the fleet and guys are, you know, we know some of them are not, you know, in it to win it, or motivated to, you know, go do things that we're talking about here.
and I'll tell you why. And there's a straightforward to the point reason why. Because when you go and you're at said school, whether it's like you go to some fucking selection process or advanced, you know, whether you're at IULC or ISLC or whatever, AIC, whatever they call it now, or like sniper indoc, or you know, sniper, like, yeah, you get beat up pretty good the first couple of days, but then it's like you get to a point where you're treated like a man, right? And I was being treated like a man at 19 years old, dude. I'm a fucking, or,
Talk about
you know,
it. Talk
no, I
about
was
it.
20. I was 20. I
Still
think
talk
I was
about that.
20. And I'm Lance Corporal there with like a bunch of these like grown ass men that have been on multiple deployments and all this shit. And like they put you in a position like, all right, fucking Giuliano, you're the squad leader. Like, what are you gonna do? And you have to like perform on demand. And you get put in those positions where you have to, you know, do these things, and you got all these other guys around you, and you're like telling sergeants like what to do and shit, and you're like, you feel confident in your ability to do these things. You go back to the fleet, and you're not with a like group of like you get sent there. Like if a guy gets sent there and he doesn't want to be there, you're gonna know that right off the bat. He's gonna be fucking dogging from the start. And you're like, they're gonna be the black faces on the fucking picture, right? Like did not make the cut. And then there's the guys that want to be there, right? And everybody goes, and you want to be like, you don't want to disappoint. Then you go back to the fleet, and you
Get hated on for that.
No, not even. You go back to an environment where guys are treated like children, right? Like they're treated like they don't know what they're doing, and then you come back from this environment where you're like given all this responsibility, and you know what you've got to do, and then you know it's like, well, Not even that you're not allowed to do it, it's just the entire environment itself makes it toxic because so many of the people haven't been afforded an opportunity to see what it can be like or what you're capable of, and they're just stuck in this like, well, I guess I'm fucking gonna go to PT today, I'm gonna go to the chow hall for breakfast, I'm gonna go fucking to the armory and clean my weapons. It's like there's no,
and that
like,
spreads, dude. That infects.
I mean, like that. What I would say is like that. That is like the Lance Corporal underground mindset, you know. And like, not that I've, you know, say that that's a bad thing. I mean, I was a fucking part of it, and
I mean, we can all understand it.
It's just the way that we negativity, talking about all the bad things, and then it brings it up. Like, I remember when I came back from infantry squad leaders course, I like got everybody like flacked up at least, and we're like boots and utes with flags, and we were like doing a run in the backyard at 29 Palms, and like some guy came up, he's like, oh, you can't run in plate carriers,
you know,
like,
black flag.
Well, not even that it's like black flag, but like I didn't do like an ORM, there was no corpsman there, and we're like running a fucking mile or two, whatever, like in like by the O course in 29
exactly
Palms,
what we're talking
like up
about.
and down the sand, you know, it's like where it's not like I'm making these guys like carry rucks and we're doing fucking burpees and
we are
pyramid
Marines.
pull-ups and all this shit. It's like, put a fucking, you know, what are your plates weighing? 3.5 pounds, 4.5 pounds a piece. That's fucking 8-9 pounds, whatever it is, and your plate carrier, your fucking boots, and you can't run through the sand for 2 to 4 miles, whatever the fuck it may be. And then somebody's telling you that it's like they consider that hazing. They consider that hazing. Like, that's what I was told. Like, putting Marines in the fucking, like, that's you can't do
Stop
that,
it.
right?
Come on.
I'm not kidding, dude. Ask guys that are like, it was you were not allowed to go out and PT like without
Come on.
I'm telling you, I guarantee you, there's
That's
got
not
to
what
be
we meant-
somebody.
that's not what we meant by
There's
hazing,
got to
dude.
be somebody else out there that has experienced the same thing. And I'm not making this up, dude. I'm not fucking making this up. And it's like,
that's what kills a good leader, dude. If you feel like you can't do the stuff that's necessary, dude, come on.
right? And again, like talking about obstacles and like way to like get around that and like things to do. There's like there's always a way to mitigate like the discrepancies and shit, right? Like you can always find a way to do that. But in our initial point, like talking about like seeing that, like we were talking about like coming back, having that feeling, seeing the shit bags, but like again, why can't we showcase like the positives and then bring back what we like? We're supposed to go, like I was sent there to go learn something, right?
And bring it back to
like,
the group.
I would be doing a disservice if I
bring it back.
learn this and then I come
Didn't share
back
it.
and I'm not sharing that or trying to implement
motivate.
the
Yes.
last fucking 7 weeks that the Marine Corps paid for on my contract to go to a school where I'm shooting motherfucking rockets and doing all kinds of crazy shit, and there's just a disconnect, and I don't know where, I don't know the synapse or the synapsis is not getting the right connection.
It's so hard to pin to point and figure out where that is.
There's so many things, dude. it just comes down to the fact that there's a reason why the United States Marine Corps is still here. There's a reason why it's the most lethal fighting force on the face of the earth.
Attacked
And
us
why
devil dogs for a reason,
Hey,
man.
and that's why when you ask me like you're like, why do I know
The Marine Corps is okay?
Because it's the fucking Marine Corps, dude.
But what did you just say? What did you just say? Like everything you just said. I mean, that's directly.
Because I have confidence that those guys that I looked up to, that I took something from, that I passed on to somebody else, that may have stayed in the Marine Corps, that passed that on to somebody else. Like it's a column of files in terms of like we always like like fucking like Ranger file. Like you need to pass on the fucking signal. Like whatever the hand and arm signal is, whatever this shit is, like it needs to get passed on. And I guarantee you that somebody knows there's a line of fucking lineage that goes back to somebody that I'm talking about, and somebody may have talked about me, and somebody may have talked about you, somebody may have talked about this guy, and a story of why they're motivated to continue doing what they're doing, and that's why the Marine Corps is what the fucking Marine Corps is.
Now we talked about this earlier too, man. We both know guys that are still in, and I've talked to a few of my close friends that are now master sergeants, gunnies, high up, in the listed ranks. And they agree with the things that we're calling out, the discrepancies that, we're noticing. But, they don't want to make waves. They don't want to... And how do you feel about that, man? Because I can understand.
How can you make waves in an environment where it's like a no-wake zone? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, standing against something. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying, like, you can't. You're driving in a wake zone, right? Like, you've been on your boat on the lake. Like, you got to park your. Like, you're not fucking coming through because that creates a rift in the environment. Like, excuse me. These guys feel like they're constantly traversing a no wake zone, and if they make the waves, they're automatically pinned as a problem, and then that creates a situation where I'm not up for promotion, I can't do this position, I can't do these things, I can't go to this school, all these reasons. But
that's what I'm saying. I can understand it.
I think because we're not based legitimately on a system of merit, like where you perform and where you outdo said person here, and there, like. It's like you can sit around and make time and grade rank by doing the bare minimum and fall through the cracks, while somebody that may have like had X, Y, and Z issues or struggled here, struggled there.
Another
but
terminal sergeant.
Well, and I don't know if I'm making the right point with that. It just certain things are overlooked and certain things are focused on, right? Like if you do a promotion board or like however whatever situation goes, and you look at something that may have happened like X amount of. I just think that the system itself needs to be reinforced in a better way to focus on
exactly what we're talking about.
The non-negative aspects of everything. Like everybody has made a mistake. Like I got NJP'd, and I remember my company commander I remember my company commander at the time. He was a Mustang, and we were sitting there, and he's like, I was drinking. Like, this guy's telling us this at like. Basically, like, I drank as a junior Marine, but, like, I never got caught or I never did something fucking stupid, right? So, like, if you can live within the threshold of,
play
like...
the game properly.
And, again, I don't know if that's the right point to make.
I mean, that's told to us constantly, dude. Play the game properly. Don't be stupid. But it's like...
There's just a way that things are done, the way that people do
you brought up punishing, dude. You brought up punishing. And that's something I've had a conversation about, recently. I feel like the Marine Corps... needs to adjust this somehow. I mean,
punishing, like
you got guys that are giving their lives to you. That's what we're doing, accepting, to be a Marine, deploying, fighting for our country, and they make a mistake, one little thing, and you run them up the fucking.
Well, I mean, that's
destroy their fucking career. Like,
I think that's definitely in more of a. Smaller scope of things. I don't think that's like an everyday occurrence, because anybody that's been out on the East Coast, and I never have, but all the guys that I talk about like the tree line and shit, like meet me in the tree line and do all these things, or like drop your fucking rank, or there's like Lance Corporals and like
I haven't heard that in a while, bro.
But you think that like there's not a way to
handle stuff in-house, you're saying?
Not everybody is a fucking tattletale, dude. Not everybody is a little fucking bitch, and like if something bad happens, I've got to go tattletale to mom.
I hope it's still like that. I hope that's still alive.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it is. Like for generations, it's traversed. Maybe it's like you know,
In a
like
different
here, your
scope,
sector of fire is here, right? And we got all this crazy shit, and like maybe it comes down to here, right? Like like within the scope of things, you can't like tie people to your rack and beat them with bars of soap, right? Like fucking
Things
good old
change, yeah, I
private
get
fucking
it.
piles, you know? Like you can't do shit like that anymore. But we did the Thunderdome shit. We like took our pillows and like fucking tied them up tight, and when like the lights were out and shit, we go up and like whoever was fucking around in boot camp, we like 4 dudes like, with, you know, because those pillows you had in boot camp, bro, those are like fucking like, you pack those motherfuckers
Oh, yeah.
tight. And, hey,
You
and
feel
anybody that questions the fact, and not that it's like a flex that we fucking hit kids with pillows, but it's like there's always a fucking different, like we didn't tie somebody down and fucking hit them with bars of soap, but like the next best thing of like the kid that fucked up, it was like caused the problem, you're gonna pay a fucking price, dude.
I think it was more prevalent that everyone got together to punish or to stand by something, you know, as a unit.
Did you make that mistake again?
No.
Did you make
No.
that mistake again?
Absolutely
I
not.
remember, like when I was in ITB, it was like you do your first little 5K and you're humping out to the range and you got all your shit, and then you do. I think it's like table 3 and 4, or maybe it was some, but whatever. When we did like buddy team rushing or individual buddy rushing, buddy team rushing, I had a saw, and one of our instructors, he was a machine gunner. He had these like sleeve tattoos that were flames on both arms, right? Like it was like fire all the way up the forearms. So I get up, and you got the instructor right next to you. I get up to go run with my weapon. I didn't put my saw on safe, right? So when I go down into my next position, I feel a press on my back with a foot, and then somebody grabbed him by the front of my Kevlar and lifted me back like this, like straight, like flailing. Oh, I almost knocked my rifle over. Flailing around, like, oh, what the fuck? And he comes down to my ear, and he's like, you didn't put your weapon on safe when you got out to move. And I'm fucking like pinned back, dude. He's like,
When you do that in general, you're
oh
immobile.
yeah, oh, for fucking sure. I mean, do you think after that moment in time, like I didn't remember or like to put my saw on?
This is what we're talking
safe?
about. Things like
You know,
that
like,
get burnt into you, and it helps you. It does. There's a reason it's done, and it does something for you.
I don't remember his name. I remember the tattoos, bald head, stocky, ripped fucking dude. I remember the fact that like pain retains, like never again did you not click before you got up to move, and then you come down, and before you go on fire, but you put your saw
You know
back.
what I'm surprised about? You know, you're saying pain retains, and I understand and I feel that because I've been through the same things. None of us that went through that stuff are the ones complaining about it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not trying to be like,
I know when I got some shit done to me, it was done for a reason. I deserved it to a certain degree. I learned from it, and I never did it again. And I would never dog on the person that, because I felt that, stronger for going through it. I felt that, to me, no one else had to deal with something like that. It meant something. The Marines meant more to me then. It meant,
at that point in time, you're like in the middle of this suck, and you think nobody else has got to go through this. But like as we talk about this, like realize more often than not, like so many other people dealt with the exact same thing. Like they went through very similar, if not the same experiences.
But why is it coming up now? Why is it a problem now? Is it just how the world is?
I don't think it's a problem now. Like Mothers of America have been around for
people are making a big deal about hazing recently. Like it's coming up a lot.
I haven't. I mean, I'm not familiar with the fact that it's like recent or anything.
But why now? Is it just because how the world is, or is it guys complaining about? Because
probably social media. Probably some fucking drill instructor that put his fucking phone up and like videotape some fucking tornado shit, or some kid doing a monkey fucker.
Because it may sound fucked up, but dude, is it the word I'm looking for? Proud, going through some hard shit. But dude, I felt stronger for going through that. I would never knock on the person for that because I know that you guys aren't suffering like we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Do you feel me on that?
No, I just think of the stupid shit that everybody has their own experience. Everybody has gone through, everybody went through the whole process of getting off the fucking bus and going under the footsteps and shaving your head and doing all the fucking shit and there was no sipping fucking Pepsis in the army at whatever. Like everybody goes like, "Hey mom, I'm fucking hang up the phone." Like, you're like, "Hey,"
Such a sketchy
you're
call.
like, "Hey mom, hey mom," yeah, and then you're hanging up the phone. Next thing you know, you got your little Go Fasters on, your head shaved, you got a little penicillin shot in your butt cheek, and you're trying to like rub it up against the wall as you're standing there.
That
Like
shit
like
sucked.
all the little shit. Like I still remember. Like one of the guys that I went to boot camp with. We went to boot camp and ITB together. We weren't in the same unit. He was with 1-7. We were both in 29 Palms. Like, I just saw him in Texas when I drove down to Texas for the first tactical games event that I competed in. Like, we built a relationship off of that. Like, and it's just like thinking about the Marine Corps and the whole, like, people having the ability to bond over all these different situations. Like, it starts from day one. And so many people go to look past, like, you want to be the guy that's like, I'm not a boot. Like, I'm not going to wear my fucking, like, bro, I have the motherfucking red United States Marine Corps in yellow, like, old school, old dog veteran fucking hat, okay? Like, I definitely have, like...
We all have, dude.
It's a sense of pride. It's like, it's established from... Day one.
Yeah.
It really fucking is, because... Like, the whole fucking thing is, like, the yellow fucking footprints and the whole mentality going into it. And then how everything is... And, like, I joke around, like, and I'm not joking, like, oh, call her Ofa. Like, I still remember some of the ditties when you're standing in the fucking chow hall line, and before you can go in and eat chow, you gotta, like, say all the fucking shit or whatever. Like, it's something that sticks with you, and it... That's why I know the Marine Corps isn't fucking dead, dude, because I went through, and I guarantee you it's not that watered down. Like, there is still lineage and legacy and people that are fucking proud of the fact that they're United States Marines. Like, I fucking wholeheartedly know it, because we can still see it. Like, focus on all the negative shit you want, dude. I'm trying to focus on the positive shit and the beneficial things that we're doing. One, in the veteran community, and two, like, still seeing the military being able to hold its own. And when I say the military be able to hold its own, seeing the fucking Marine Corps be able to hold its own. And there's plenty of fucking leaders out there in different positions that are capable of doing that, and they perform and they showcase that they can do that. And it's not, dude, everybody wants to have an opinion. But all the people that are giving the opinions are more than likely individuals who are no longer serving and actually doing that thing before. You know, like, they're all these people that have something to say, and they're guys like me who got out fucking a decade ago in fucking March of 2014. It's been over a decade since I was in the Marine Corps. Wow. Been 12 years since I was in fucking Afghanistan. Where does my opinion actually apply anymore? How much things have progressed and changed? And I'm not negating the fact that what we did wasn't fucking beneficial. And I fucking loved every part of it. Do I struggle? Do I have fucking downfalls? Yes, I fucking do. But we sacrificed. The men and women before us sacrificed to pave the fucking road to where the Marines are at now. And they are leading from the fucking front. And I have no doubt behind that, because... look at all the shit out there that is being proven. Like, Marine Corps numbers are up. I'm pretty sure statistically, like, they are the only ones that are meeting numbers. You got all these leaders out there. Now social media is a legitimate platform. As we sit here and do this on social media, they're able to broadcast the things they're doing. Fucking, using it as a tool, the most, like, the Beirut Battalion. I don't know the... Will Kerrigan, the 1st Battalion, 8th Marines, fucking Beirut Battalion. That guy is, like, they're doing moto runs and all the shit they do on 0331. Like, those motherfuckers are up at 0331 doing 240 and 50 cal and fucking Mark 19 runs through whatever. Like, the legacy and the tradition and the fucking tenacity that sits behind the warfighters that are still serving in the United States Marine Corps to this day is still alive. And I have fucking complete confidence in their capability to do so. And I don't know that for sure, but you can just see it. These men and women, and I say men and women because it's all these contributing factors, all play a role in making sure that shit fucking still happens, dude.
I hear you. I hope that's the case. I really do. Because, you know, the way it looks,
I know it's the case.
It looks like something's gonna be happening soon, dude.
Well, I think one when there's friction, a lot of people like to game the game or try to like figure out like what
I know.
there's no way of telling. All right,
I think there's too much of that out there and not enough.
Go back to our where we started after our fucking piss break. Like, focus on the bad. That's all we're gonna fucking think about. Talk about the benefits and the progress. Not just, I'm not talking about progressive bullshit in terms of, excuse me, I shouldn't say progressive bullshit. Everybody's included and everybody's capable of being something, right? Excuse me. But
I'm talking about the fact that I'm referring to the fact that we're on what, 3 different fronts right now, maybe.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's funny because think of how it lined up with World War II, right? Like the Army definitely had the fucking European campaign, and the Marines
in the Philippines
had the fucking island hopping campaign, right? And it's like looking the same way with all the way that things are going. Like, what are we training for, and what are we preparing for? And like I don't know. I'm not like a think like, oh, because they're doing this is gonna fucking happen. But like, it's plain to say like, this is why I think we're still carrying on the legacy of being those fucking
dogs.
Guadalcanal, going to fucking Peleliu, going to Okinawa, motherfucking Iwo Jima, like all the fucking all the islands that we fucking Solomon Islands, all that shit that the Marines were fighting in, all the shit that the Army was fighting in Europe, like I don't know, maybe they're, and this is not me projecting or tinfoil hatting or anything. I'm just saying, like, the Army fought in Europe, all through Europe. The Marines, we're training and we're capable and we're competent to be able to have a sustainability.
What do you mean? What are you saying? You're saying
there's fucking warfighters that are ready to fucking rock and roll, dude. Like there's training that is out there that we're doing sustainability operations. We're trying to be as minimal as possible with making the maximum signature and this is all shit that's known. It's not like I'm broadcasting fucking operations and shit. We're training for things to make us better, fucking lethal without having all this like, look at what the GWAT was, bro. Everything was generator. Everything was like, there's fucking Connex boxes everywhere. There's fucking cities. You go to, I remember when we got like on my we fly into Leatherneck, or my first deployment we flew into Leatherneck, right? I remember getting off the fucking bird and I'm like, it's fucking 29 Palms, dude. There's fucking like people just like walking around and shit. We were in the chow hall smoking a fucking cigarette, like outside the chow hall. Like the little, they had those little fucking 2x4 smoke boxes that are like in designated smoking areas, and we're in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan, like 25 fucking feet outside the chow hall, 5 feet away from the fucking designated smoking box, and some sergeant with a fucking drop leg holster, Beretta on his hip, and a pair of camis and a 8-point cover comes up to us and he says, he's like, hey Marines, like, you know, like, we're like,
shape shit.
No, we were like, we're in Afghanistan. He's like, this is like Garrison Marine, and then a fucking HIMAR fucking skyrockets overhead, and you're just like, I mean, not really, that point proven, you know. He's like, you guys gotta please call cigarette butts for smoking outside the designated smoking area. And we're like, absolutely not, you know. I mean, that's a silly, I'm just, true story, stupid shit happens like that. It's not like
what's prevalent. We wanted to tie in, you know, what you just did recently.
Oh, the traveling around the country and shit?
Traveling around the country. And
so it started with Team RWB, Team Red, White, and Blue. Had I applied. My buddy sent me this link, like, hey, tactical game shit. I have no idea what the fuck tactical games are. Team Red, White, and Blue is looking for people, whatever. And I'm like, you know, I fucking tactical guy. Sign up for it, get accepted, and I go compete in Texas, right? It was a fucking great experience. You get to do some, like, push your capabilities in terms of like physical fitness applied with shooting, all these different stages of fire and like all these things.
Was it harder than you expected?
Way fucking harder than I expected. I mean, like, I prepped for it well, dude. Like, you know, I look a little I'm a thick ass boy. I look thick on camera, but like I got down to like 205. I was eating healthy. lifting. I had like a whole, routine that I was on and everything, and like shooting, and like I did well. And I'm not gonna make excuses for anything. I got paired with a partner that I didn't know. Guy fucking shows up with a polymer fucking AR-15 lower upper fucking 1:4 optic that's like halfway canted Taurus G2C and a fucking clickable holster. Like it's just like
all bad.
It's not the tool, it's the man when it comes down to performance. But like, dude, he fucking. It was the tool and the man. Like he was like flagging people on the line and like all this stupid shit.
All bad.
I had carried his weight for like a lot of the exercises.
You clearly caught your boy's eye.
Say that again?
You clearly caught your partner's eye.
Oh yeah. So they saw me. The two brothers. They took first place.
You want to shout him out? What's his name?
Scott Gross and Chad Gross. They're from Pennsylvania. Great guys. Not veterans or anything, but just like Americans, riflemen. Know how to fucking run and gun. Really fucking fit and great shots. But they're like, hey, I saw your attitude with a shit partner. Like you still stayed confident. Like like you weren't like a piece of shit. Like you fucking suck. Like it's still trying to be
negatively.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
So he's like, hey, there's another one coming up.
You're echoing what you've been saying, dude. Focus on the stuff you can control.
I mean,
the good.
Like I had to carry the guy's weight. Like I run down, do my shit, and he can't. Like I come back, lift it up, help him carry it down. Like I just like what you would do.
Real people notice real things.
Well, I mean, that's just the way that I was raised, trained, like, whatever. And they're like, oh, you're like, you seem like a solid guy. Would you be interested in like running the next one with me? I was like, absolutely. We ended up finishing 9th place overall. It was in Dalton, New Hampshire. Yeah, it was like there's like a collective total of like 213 people or something. And during like the tactical teams event, we were like 9th place overall, so like top 10.
Fuck yeah.
His brother took 2nd place with his other brother. His other brother took 6th place, and then we took 9th place. So it's like a fucking
it's a win.
For me, it's a win from where we came from the first time I did it. Right, I was fucking stoked about it.
What do you think you took? The biggest thing or the most important thing you took away from it?
Suffering in silence. I mean, just like you got to do the work. I put it in, and like it is me being like the guy. This motherfucker. I shouldn't say this guy. This man. This leader. Like when I was slacking and struggling, like this guy that he like stepped up and like carried the weight. We're like 200-pound fucking sandbag lifts over a 48-inch yoke, and I have to hop away. Like he's like, I'm gassed. He's like, I got this next one. And it's like. Stepping up to the plate.
That gives you a little gas when you don't have
it does, but like where I'm the guy that like I like to say that I'm a leader and I'm capable and all these things. Like when I'm struggling and seeing somebody like is capable of stepping up, then I mean, yeah, it gives me that fuel.
Yeah.
Like I told him, man, I was like, thanks for carrying the weight. Like you led from the front, bro, and you gave me an example.
We talked a little bit about this. What do you think about maybe we talk tactical games. What do you think about maybe indoctrinating some of that stuff in the CFT? Because
Oh, I mean that needs to be. I think they changed the course of fire for how the Marine Corps does the rifle range stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But what I'm getting to is like now they do like positional shooting and like running up and like barricade stuff. But for the sense of like, okay, PFT, you can show you're physically fit, right? Like everybody should like you like run the 3 miles and do it. Now I think it's like planks or something they have to do instead of the sit-ups and then pull-ups, right? When it comes to the CFT, like the combat fitness test, like all right, we run 800 meters in boots and utes, right?
Yeah.
Well, should be in a plate carrier. Yeah, and then you get to the position where like, all right, you're doing like these lifts. Like, what you should do is do those lifts and then drop it and pick up your rifle and then set up and be able to shoot like 10 rounds at 100 yards and be able to like with a 6-inch circle at 100 yards, right? Like that's a fucking
trying to mimic.
That's a vital organ area on a human being. All right. Put a 6-inch fucking circle at a target at 100. You got to do your fucking ammo can lifts, pick up a fucking rifle, get into a stable shooting position, press, and then like unload, show clear, get up, like do your shit, buddy drag, frag, grenade toss, and like come back. Like at least something where it actually like. And CFT can smoke some people, but we need to be like upping and upping, like looking at all these things that we can do to. And this is just my opinion. Like somebody's like. Oh, there's the ORMs and the range that we'd have to, like, dude, the Marine Corps has all this training space. You've been to fucking 29 Palms before, and you run around fucking Bandini for your fucking PFT, and then guess what? Next day, go strap up, you're gonna go fucking do, like, like your CFT at a live fire range and be able to shoot 10 or fucking 20 rifle rounds while you're being gassed, right? Like, we've got to up the standard of what we think is the threshold for like because
being a
this is
Marine,
like doing the like I do like the training and consulting and shit, right? I work with people, travel and do like it's one thing when you like, all right, I'm going to shoot a rifle from 100 in the prone or like 500 in the prone or like a pistol from 5 meters away when I've not physically exerted, when you haven't patrolled 10 clicks, when you haven't fucking carried a casualty, when you haven't fucking done X, Y, and Z, and then you get into the shit, right? Like, where are you going to perform and be able to show that like I'm capable of, or at least like in a sense of like the stress being put on you, the 150 plus heartbeat fucking, how are you going to control your breathing to take that controlled press when you know your fucking tip of the dick lines up at the target at 36 meters or whatever, or however close you are to your RCO, and like now they got the fucking EOTechs or the aim point fucking acupoints or whatever they got and all the cool shit they have. No, I think, I mean, the RCO, solid, but like what they got now, like the Trigicons or the EOTechs that they're using are fucking, the loopholes, the LPVOs, and all, that shit's fucking next level. Like, I have fucking LPVO on my rifle, being able to go from 1 to 10 and then have this little red dot piggybacked on top for like 25 and in. I just look over my optic and I can be like, press at like 25 and in, 50, hold low, hit center. Like, it's like all this shit that you understand with like what you should be as a fucking, you know, like rifleman or like, but every Marine's a rifleman, right? And you got people going to the rifle range like loading mags backwards or putting rounds in wrong, and it's like it's not everybody, right? They're, like, I'm not. But
it is there. It's there.
It is there, and how are we there? Why are we there? How is that possible?
How is that? How is that still, you know, left unchecked? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fucking guy with too much to say and like not enough experience, and who the fuck am I? Like, I mean, no, but I'm being serious though. Like who the fuck am I to like say this is the way that it should be? What experience do I have? Like, everybody's got an opinion on the way things should be done and how they should be handled.
I understand why you're saying that, dude, because it seems like that's all we hear.
You got a lighter on you?
It's people quacking on Instagram, and it gets old. It does.
People are always talking shit, dude. Like, you know, like.
And that's not what we're doing, dude. We're talking about things that are real, in the things that we know about, in the things that we've experienced, in the lives that we've lived. And a lot of people don't want to talk about this stuff because they're worried about hurting feelings or making waves, dude. We talk about this.
I think they do, but they don't have the proper way of doing it. Like, you go to the fucking hang out with your boys, everybody's talking shit like this. Like, not everybody has the platform and the ability to like say these things and like be heard by like the masses that agree.
I think what you're saying is you got to also play devil's advocate and talk from both sides and understand, you know,
dude,
why things are happening.
If you're do you want to understand your enemy in order to be proficient against like them, or for whatever reason? Why you can't just think like, this is my way and this is the way that it's gonna happen? You know, like you're setting yourself up for fucking failure, right? Like we have to be versatile, and it's like, again, back to the adapt and overcome aspect of everything.
Back to the basics. You said it fucking 1 hour ago. I hear you completely.
But back to the tactical game shit. Love doing that kind of stuff. Like, but what the coolest thing about the Marine Corps is, right? So, you know, I got out in 14, did a couple deployments, met a lot of fucking people, and like I can literally go to, like, I'm here right now with you. I mean, we didn't serve together, but we know mutually, obviously, through the Marine Corps. But like people that I served with, I've got the capability of going to any fucking place in the country, dude, and having a place to lay my head. When I was driving to Texas, I saw 5 or 6 dudes that I hadn't seen in fucking over a decade, and I'm like, got my route, I plan it, I'm doing this shit, I go stop and see them. Same thing when I came here for the tactical games, dude. Again, in New Hampshire. I go through Pennsylvania, saw one of my buddies I deployed with in 2012 to Afghanistan. You
gotta be proactive with your boys. Well,
you
have to get out and do it.
That's the whole thing that I say behind, like, and not that like I'm the end all be all fucking sayer of these, but it's like,
you gotta put effort into it.
I have always been like, ask any of the fucking dudes that I serve with, any of the guys that I know. Like, I am pretty fucking proactive about like out. Constant text messaging, or it's like, this guy I might talk to for a couple months, or this guy I might talk to for a couple months. I got guys that I talk to once a week or every other week, whatever it is. But like, if you're gonna call somebody your fucking brother, like somebody that you say that you love and care about, right? And then you want to be the guy that like stands there at his funeral, like,
no, we never knew.
But you're not calling, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all.
No, but dude,
I've been through that situation.
You're talking real shit. Many times. Talking real shit,
and it's like,
We both know that.
You can't be the guy that sits back and be like, oh, I like this Instagram post or I like this fucking Facebook thing. It's like,
When's the last time you talked to him?
Say that again?
When's the last time you talked to him?
Oh yeah. When's the last time you talked to your buddy that you like knew and served with?
exactly.
You know, like I try my best to reach out to everybody, even people that like I met at X, Y, and Z, or Marines that I bumped into. Excuse me, throughout like different experiences, and whether it's civilian life, whatever. I just think maintaining a good rapport with people that you love and care about,
Very
and
imperative.
that you want to see do well. Like you can't just be like the social media age person, like liking somebody's comment and fucking commenting on their Instagram or their Facebook thing, and like that's not enough. Okay, like that's like, oh, I realize you're alive still and you're still there, but like we have to do more to be like, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Bro,
like
we all see guys are dropping like flies. You know, since we've been out, this is something that's happening. We need to take this shit more seriously, and exactly what Mike just said, you know, instead of the bare minimum liking and fucking, you know, checking in on Instagram, fucking call your boys. Check in.
And when you say call your boys, it's not just calling the guys that are fucking struggling. Call on the guys that are doing well.
Yep.
Maintain those open lines of communication and try to fucking make a difference in terms of like how you're making a difference. You know, like get in like and like we were talking about, like you just have to show. Not show, but like you have to be, right? Like you have to go out and like immerse yourself into these different environments to be able to like rub the elbows, right? Like there's the whole story of like privates digging the hole, and like guy walks by like dig deeper. Like I'm sure people understand what I'm talking about, but he's like dug himself so deep and he can't get out. And then there's like the guy that jumps in. He's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Don't worry, brother. Like, I've fucking been here before." Like it's not just about like reaching for help and hoping somebody's gonna reach out to you. Like if you're struggling, you have to be the one that reaches out and says something, dude. And I was talking to, when I was at the tactical games, I met a lot of Marines, dude. One of those Marines happened to be the battalion commander of 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines. I forget his name, but if he ever hears this, he knows exactly who it is. And it was like more recently as well, like during the GWAT. I fucking wish I remembered the guy's name. I feel, was it? Could probably look it up on social media. But
what'd you get out of it?
Well, we talked about reasons why when Marines were like, this is like the touchy part of the subject, right?
Yeah, this is different.
And like the things that we struggled with upon getting out, right? And it's crazy because I'm talking to a guy that was a fucking, like now he's a civilian, right? He's like not in the Marine Corps anymore. I'm this bearded homeless dude at the fucking tactical games coming up and saying, "Hey, Semper Fi, gentlemen," because he's got a fucking little EGA American flag thing on his fucking plate.
No, but we were talking about this, but why are guys killing themselves? And it's a touchy thing. I understand it's not easy to talk about, but we need to have these conversations because we need to understand this to fix this. Why are guys, and you know what? It's not because of what we did overseas. It's not. I mean, there are some people that are affected by that. I'm not downplaying that. I understand that does happen. But the majority, it seems like it's something else.
It's not just something else, dude. It's everything else, right? Like, it's the stress of the overwhelming weight of everyday life that everybody's going through, right? And some people
not conforming back to civilian life to some degree.
But is there ever going to be a civilian life? No, there's the veteran life, and I don't mean that to be like a catchphrase or something.
No,
but like,
you're right.
There is never going to be a civilian
never
life
be
again. Right?
Your
like,
perfect normal.
You lived civilian life already, and then
you're not a civilian.
Joined the military, and now that you're a veteran, and regardless of what your experience was during your time in service, you have a different perspective, outlook, experience than a huge majority of people in our country. And a lot of people want to say that, and this is me speaking on my own, and I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not saying that the reasons why it's like, there's definite problems within, experiences of trauma during time in service. Of course. I'm not a professional mental health person or anything like that. And it's like, yes, there are correlating factors between why things happen from A to B, like the mechanics of
nomenclature.
Of why A gets to B and B gets to C and C gets to D, and ultimately leads to the problems that we're experiencing. And it's not just based off the time in service, right? There's different things that people experience and go through and struggle with, right? Whether it's financial things, relationship things, children problems, medical problems, and all these situations that go into it. And when a veteran commits suicide, the first thing that we want to jump to is like how like the experience that they had pushed them
To do
those things, right?
It's not that simple.
I think that's doing a disservice to a lot of the. Again, I'm not speaking for anybody else other than myself, and I think that it does a disservice to the legacy that they left and the things that they upheld.
I agree.
Because it's not just because of what they did and who they were in their time in service, because they couldn't hack it anymore and they couldn't stand civilian life or transition,
it's not that simple.
and they had to take. There are so many correlating factors that play into that, and we have to acknowledge.
We have to understand those.
And again, there are plenty of issues and problems and trauma and all these things that come from time in service. And I'm not saying that things don't happen because of that. But
I think this is the start of it, though. I think this is, this isn't easy for us, dude. This shit isn't easy to talk about.
I think for me, and I will say that it is easier for me to talk about because, like, I went through a lot of different programs with the VA, dude, for many years. And a lot of people talk shit on the VA. Like, I've gotten help from outside organizations and stuff and gotten to do some really cool stuff. But, like, maintaining a relationship with the VA, and, like, I'm not saying, like, everybody's like, oh, I talk to... You talk to a psychiatrist and you tell them the issues you're going through, they're going to prescribe you medication, dude. Like, you don't have to go to just a psychiatrist and tell them that, like, oh, my combat experience has led me here, because, like, they think then that, like, the way to treat that, like, through a psychiatrist is a medical intervention in terms of, like, giving you some type of medication. But, like, there's alternate sources of therapy out there that can lead to more beneficial outcomes when it doesn't.
We're talking about treating the root issue instead of, using medicine.
I mean, exposure therapy and, like, going through group therapy, individual therapy, and, like, talking about the truths and realities of things that you experienced. And you can't just, like it, right? I mean, for me, like, when you do exposure therapy, you talk about one thing, and, like, over and over. You have to. One, obviously, that's a big part of it. But, like, there's a whole spectrum of instances that led to that point, right? The mindset that you developed and were created, like molded into, right? Like, where I always say, like, sometimes I feel like it was like somebody took wire A and B out and put B where A was and A where B was. And, like,
are you saying you had to become a different person to deal with the things?
No, I'm not saying had to become a different person. I'm saying I had to, like, adapt into a different person because of the circumstances that were put in front of me.
Which ultimately makes you kind of different.
But it's not. You have to. It's not like you sign the contract and know that you're going to have to change and do these things. It's the A to B to C to D to E, like, to get to that progression, right? Like, there's a, and I'm not saying there's a process to becoming a fucking expert on, it just, there's a whole bunch of shit that goes into play. And we want to focus on the root factors. And a lot of the root factors, I mean, like, you go deep into it, like childhood,
I know, some of that comes
all
into
these
play
different things come into play to the whole culminating factor of the way that you respond to trauma when it actually happens. And that's
you're right. It's doing a disservice to just point at the things that happened in the Marine Corps to cause who you are now.
And that's why so many, and I will admit that I was guilty of this at times, of blaming the Marine Corps for the way that I interacted with other people and had different experiences, because, like, they taught me to yell at people. Like, to get my point across, I had to physically, like, get in somebody's face and, like, tell. Like, I thought that's what leadership was. Like, at points in time, I thought it was, like, because, like, I told you what to do, and this is, like, you have to find a better way of being effective about, like, employing these things, right? Like, and that's not, like I said earlier, it starts at the base level every way through up. And it's like, take the things that you like, take the things that you don't like. Every fucking battalion commander has come from a position of leadership at the basic level, coming through TBS and going to fucking whatever school and, like, learning all these traits and skills. And every infantryman and every motor T mechanic and everything, you have to compound upon those and be proficient in what you're trying to do, and not make it like
your time in service be the scapegoat.
Well, not just the time in service to be the scapegoat, but like because I'm here, I'm the one that's right. Like the guy
Yeah,
that made
yeah, I
the
hear
sickle, like there was like the like fucking finding IEDs, the extended fucking pole. It was like, I think it was like with some bamboo or something, like some fucking PFC or Lance Corporal figured out the idea to like find a pole fucking, like wires out of IEDs utilizing the sickle, and like listening to the lowest level of the totem pole can sometimes make the largest impact in
Of
things.
course.
And we forget that in leadership positions because we want to be right, or we don't want to hear like
That's so
like
true.
like
That's so
I don't
true.
know,
That fault.
I don't know if I like ran off track, but it's
No, but
like,
that's significant. That's true. And sometimes it's hard for people in leadership positions to humble themselves to listen to the lowest person.
it fucking
It's
is,
something that
dude.
comes
It
with
is.
time and service and going through shit and learning.
And on top of that,
It's
I
not the
think
easiest thing.
everybody's had that experience with somebody
course.
that's like taken advantage of the
think we've
system,
all seen
or been in a position where it's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why? Like where's the method to the madness? Like they're at the end of the day, like, yeah, sometimes you need a little extra fucking punishment, but like ultimately you need to have a reason why. Like it's like the in order to. Like that's the whole point of like your mission statement is the
agree.
in order to.
Yep.
Fucking like the
So being that we both have a podcast and we're both hearing veteran stories and trying to I mean, maybe do the right thing or just push the veteran, community in the right direction. What would you tell guys right now that, maybe are in similar situations as us, like veterans that, maybe haven't found their way and maybe are struggling a little bit? What would you tell them, to do to try to get to where we think is, a happy life or, where you need to be, or the right way? What would you tell?
Well,
Is it just
don't fucking alienate yourself. Don't segregate yourself because you think you're fucking different from everybody else. Like,
I'm guilty of that.
there's plenty of people who have been through similar experiences. If
not
it's
alone.
not the same as yours, it's fucking similar to yours. Whether it was in this AO or that AO or with this unit or that unit. And I'm not like trying to be facetious when I say that. Excuse me. So many veterans in the GWAT era, in fucking Desert Storm, in Grenada, in fucking Beirut, in Korea, or Vietnam, in Korea. Like going back, like, there's the whole fucking, it's all happened before, dude. It's all happened before. So you just need to be,
progressive, or you have to put effort into it. You can't just alienate yourself and sit and wallow.
like, do you expect somebody to wipe your ass
No one's-
for
no
you,
one's
dude?
coming to save
I
you.
mean, like,
Yeah.
I did. I expected somebody to wipe my ass. I expected to, recognize me and see me. Like, I had the chip on my shoulder, dude. I thought that I was too salty
We all
for
go
my
through
own
that.
fucking
I think we
good,
all go
dude.
through that at some point, dude. And it's a progressive process, dude. This stuff isn't laid out to us. It's not someone telling us, this is how it's gonna go. We're just going through this, and it's.
And the difficult part with that is like and I don't know what the transition phase is like now, and I'm not blaming like, oh, because you only did SEPs and TAPs for like 1 week and they made you a LinkedIn profile and somebody gave you a PowerPoint on how to fucking write a fucking resume and all these things. You should be ready for it, but we need to be more like advantageous in terms of like, we gave our fucking time, right? You gave your 4 years. Like, you should be benefited the opportunity to like at least like get sent out in the proper way to represent that fucking entity, right? Like, whatever branch of service that it is, you should be sent out with like the most progressive fucking pathway. And I remember when I was getting out, there was like so much disgruntlement with like holding you back from like accomplishing these stupid little fucking sign
really
tasks.
nothing. Yeah.
Dude, I turned my gear into SIF. And
That's a process, though.
Well, I didn't. Luckily I went through pretty fucking smoothly. I didn't have to like turn anything else in because it was like after Japan, none of my gear was
you had
like
all new
fucked
shit.
up and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like new shit. But, like, I turned it into SIF. Like, I'm like getting the fuck out. But like the problem, dude, they did like a 15K, and this is like 2 days before I EAS. I'm like in my barracks room with my roommate, him and I were getting out on the same day. Jake Brock, great friend of mine, saw him in Texas on the way to the tactical games. We're like laying in our barracks room. And we get a call. We're like, "Where are you guys at?" And we're like, in the barracks room. Like, why aren't you like, down? We're like, what do you mean? Like, it turned out my sister's like, no, we had to get in camis, walk down, get in. We fucking walked the 15K, no gear, no nothing. I carried a Nalgene bottle at my side, like, and just like walked. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
You must have stuck out like a sore
He was
thumb.
like a maintenance, Gunny Gordon, like fucking jacked ass black dude, fucking shaved head, comes running up in his pack. He was like the maintenance guy, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And we're like, "What do you mean, Gunny?" He's like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "We're like, well, we're just like doing the hike." And he's like, "Why are you here?" Like, I don't know. He's like, shook his head and just like kept fucking moving down the line. Like, what was the purpose? Well, for sure, our platoon sergeant did not like us because like, you're getting out of the Marine Corps, like fuck you guys, you know.
Sleeves
Like,
are
you're
low,
going. I'm not. Dude, I am not kidding you. Like 2 days before we EAS'd, we're going to fucking 15K. Just our camis, 8-point covers, 8-point covers, camis. I'll find the picture somewhere. There is a fucking picture,
Please.
and I promise you,
I'd love to see your face.
I know it's like me and Brock standing there, and I've got it might be the stick over my shoulder. I was carrying my net, like I was fucking around. I was carrying like a hobo stick, you know.
Yeah.
I had like a stick over my shoulder with my Nalgene hanging from it. Like get that off your fucking shoulder, Giuliano. Whatever. It just silly shit like that. Like I'm not like I don't even know where the fuck that story was going. It just silly shit like that. Like we were about to
close
EAS.
us out. Close us out. Leave us with something, dude. Talk to the veterans because that's who we're trying to talk to right now.
Talk to the veterans. I mean, just fucking get out and be a part of something. Get out and do something. Like there's so many nonprofit organizations out there. So many different things that you can be involved with. Like it's not like back to our point of like why we even fucking started this whole little segment was like don't alienate yourself. Don't be like you have to be proactive.
You got to put the effort in. No one's gonna come and save you, dude.
You have to like, all right, I'm struggling here. I got to reach out to somebody. I want to do this. I got to. Like, there's so many nonprofit organizations out there that will fucking assist you in so many different things. You want to go back to school? You want to start a business? You want to fucking do this? You want to do that? There is a nonprofit out there that will assist you with doing that. And so many people want to sit back and like not do the work in terms of like looking for what's going to benefit them, and you're just doing a disservice to yourself. Do the research, look at it, find out what you're passionate about, and like, dude, I just turned 33 on Saturday. What do I want to be when I grow up? Like, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I don't know, but
you're still going after it. You're putting effort forward. I'm happy to see what you're doing, dude. Fucking A. Hopefully, you know, we can fucking make something out of both of our podcasts and fucking, you know, set the example for the guys, you know, after us because, you know, we didn't have that and it's good for them to see these conversations so they can,
like I said, dude, the spirit of the Marine Corps is alive and well. I know that for a fact. I see it, and like as much as people want to say all this, like the Marine Corps is doing just fine, especially the warfighter aspect of it, right? Like I know that for a fact because the warfighters are out there showing that they can fucking perform on demand. Like they're doing the things that put them above and beyond anybody else that does that. And that's whatever unit you want to talk about that's doing the hardcore training, it's still getting after it. It's not just the fucking Marines. It's everybody that's putting in the work to collectively come together and accomplish that mission, right? That's the way that it is. So I would just say get out there, participate in your community, in the veteran community, at home, with your fucking kids' school. What get involved and do something more that just like makes you feel involved.
At the end of the day, you know what you got to do. You got to put yourself out there. You got to put work into it.
Everybody talks about it's hard to find the camaraderie again. It is hard, but I guarantee you it'll
come to you if you put yourself out there.
It is out there. Yeah. It is. It's out there.
There you have it. Hard to kill.
Dude, I can't believe I traveled fucking all the way out here. We came and fucking hung out with you, so that's awesome.
Hey, this is it right here. We put in the effort, dude. This is the camaraderie you get. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's fucking shit. So, semper fucking fi, dude.
Kill.